Is it just me that I can't hear anyone? Okay, we saw the message. Voice is active. आगे दिखा रही
Hi everyone. How's your weekend going? Waiting for Nihal, so he'll probably be joining in like 2 minutes more. So let's just wait for a couple of more minutes. We have 41 people already. Great. Awesome.
Recording audio.
Hi guys, good evening. Sorry, just give me a minute. I'm just setting up my second screen. Just give me a minute, please.
Not a problem.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Yes, I think we are set. Good evening. Good evening. Sorry about that little bit of a hiccup. How are you guys doing? Hope you had a good week. And welcome back for day 2. We have about 44 people in. I think we'll wait maybe another minute and then we can quickly begin. Great. Super. Okay, I think we should begin in the interest of time. I will start the session by sharing my screen. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Okay, super. So I think we'll quickly begin with a quick recap of last week, right? And I think what we did first, we spent the first 1.5 hours, or perhaps even a little more than that, looking at some of the iconic campaigns. And we tried to identify how data and different technologies may have helped and assisted shape those campaign ideas and execution of those campaigns, right? If I were to pick your brain, and this is obviously not extensive, but like the Cadbury and SR campaign, the Heineken campaign, which is a Project Flywheel, where we basically did that hyper local targeting along with customization basis the day of the hour of the day, the day of the week, the location that is out there, the Hilton flight cancellation campaign end to end, the Volvo, the Great Interception campaign, and Burger King. The idea of going through all those campaigns was to identify what is the end creative outcome or the marketing outcome that we are trying to establish, and then identify which are the right set of solutions or technologies or data platforms that would enable those particular campaigns. The outcome always comes first. The technology and the data is always the solution that powers those first. Then going beyond that, we kind of sort of talked about tracing the roots of advertising, how the first TV ad film came up to be, what was the cost that point of time. We looked at basically David Ogilvy. We looked at some of the creative communication that was happening. We went through the Dentsu State of Advertising report. We looked at what's the share of advertising in the country right now. So overall advertising stood at about a lakh crore, out of which digital was about 50,000 crores. We looked at different sectors and how they were spending. Then we also did a little bit top level glance of the PhonePe and the Bhartiya Consumer Profiling Report. This was those personas that were created basis their shopping behavior, their UPI behavior. So we had profiles like Sia, we had profiles and Sia and a couple of other profiles. Then we also finally went to the MarTech report talking about, in India, basically, while MarTech as an ecosystem is a very complex ecosystem, in India, we are primarily little behind the adoption of such technologies. We have primarily concentrated on 4 or 5 areas, such as the content management system, the CRM systems, marketing automation systems, some part of it. So that's, I think, where we stood at. And then finally, we went through the complexity and vastness of the MarTech ecosystem. We talked about how there are more than 8,000 different vendors segmented in different use cases and verticals. And that's why it is a very, very huge spread. And if anybody says that I know the end length and breadth of entire MarTech AdTech, obviously that is something which is untrue. There is a depth of expertise, so you can go deep within different platforms and technology systems that exist. You can go broad and you can basically learn all the diverse systems that exist. So there are two ways of looking at this entire piece. So I think this was a bit quick recap, and I know one of you had requested if we could find some similar kind of case studies in the B2B space. So in the B2B space, when we talked about creative campaigns, unfortunately, I couldn't come up with much. I did try to dig up. The B2B space is pretty straightforward when it comes to adoption of MarTech AdTech. It is your CRM systems, campaigns which are triggered through WhatsApp, thought leadership, webinars, those kind of, usual stuff. There is a specific use case on what you call as account-based management, which is ABM platforms. But I think that is a niche within a niche within a niche. So for the time being, didn't want to distract from the primary agenda of what we're doing. So I thought we'll keep that on that. Before we go to today's agenda, I think just open 2 minutes, not more than that, guys, because today also we have a lot ground to cover. Any thoughts, any pending questions? If you had the time to remember our session from last time, anything that you guys would like to ask, please do let me know. And like last time, the house rules apply. If you have any questions, please feel free to add it in the chat book, the chat interface. We will take it one by one. We'll address them. For the good of every participant on the call, again, I will be treating as if all of you guys are looking at these technologies for the first time. I do recognize that some of you are being in this domain, so you have some background on some of these technologies. But I think, like I said, time and again, my experience has been that it is always supposed to be, the content should be treated as if everybody is looking at it for the first time. So that's what I think I wanted to call out. Yeah, so I think let's move on. Any thoughts initially on last week's session? Any additions, subtractions you guys want to comment on, or shall we move on to today's agenda? Are we good?
Good to proceed.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So when we talk about our entire forum, when we talked about our entire course, while it is about 6 sessions or 7 sessions, whatever the total count is way too less time to walk you through everything. But primarily speaking, we are looking at two different ecosystems. One is the AdTech ecosystem and one is the MarTech ecosystem. So today we're going to be talking about the AdTech ecosystem, which is basically how do you basically buy, what are the technology levers that are available for buying and selling ads online? What are the, how do some of these technologies enable hyper personalization? So a little bit top level understanding of that. Now, it is not simple. Trust me, people who have spent 8 years, 9 years in the industry also find it very, very difficult to understand this ecosystem. It is not just a technology ecosystem, it is a supply chain ecosystem. So, primarily, what programmatic ecosystem is solving for is a supply chain ecosystem. Now, I know there are some jargons thrown here, but I promise you, I'm going to like completely simplify everything for you by the time we are kind of putting it across. So what you're going to be doing is we're going to be understanding what is calling as the programmatic ecosystem, which has basically the supply, buy system, etc. We'll then talk about an analogy which I have crafted for you guys to kind of specifically understand what you mean by programmatic ecosystem, how ads are bought and sold. Then what we will do is we will actually go and look at a couple of decks. Now, the way this programmatic ecosystem is that all of these systems are proprietary and enterprise grade, which means that one, there is, if I may call it, uh, proprietary account customizations that happen, and there is a lot of stuff which cannot be like openly disclosed, which is why it is sort of a closed group. And therefore I think a lot of these technologies are not democratized yet, yeah, as it is, as Google and Meta has democratized stuff. Technically speaking, if you were to talk about it, Google and Meta is also a programmatic ecosystem, but more on that is something that we will talk in some time. So we'll go through a couple of these platform pieces, and we'll see to the best of our ability how we can understand the application of it. When I've designed this entire program content for today, please note that I am not designing it from a perspective of specialism in terms of implementation or execution. That each platform has its own nuances. But what I'm going to show you is basically understanding. So if you were a consultant or a strategist, how do you approach the entire ecosystem of AdTech? What are the specific problem statements that you're trying to solve for? And how do you evaluate which platform is the right for you, with going to some specifics on some of the platforms that are out there, right? So I'm going to try to explain to that process. It will get a little technical in nature because that is what you have signed up for. We cannot do it without talking technical, so bear with me. I do understand that there will be a lot of questions, etc. So do put it in the chat. I will be happy to address them one by one. So to start with, we want to talk about how ad buying happens via programmatic and what is the hype all about. Why are we talking about ad tech, programmatic, these kind of pieces? So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video for you, which is going to give you a very top level understanding of what the entire hype is all about. Yeah, I'm playing this video.
To give some perspective, we need to go back to see how media was traded online from the very start. Back then, there was an advertiser, or an agency representing an advertiser, who would buy ad space on a website. The website owner was known as a publisher. The buying and selling of ad space was initially just direct. This ad space was appropriately named inventory. The currency which was created from this inventory was impressions. The advertiser, or agency, bought impressions in the thousands. They then created the ads and filled the space. As time went on, publishers began to create thousands of web pages, which led to millions and billions of unsold inventory. This gave rise to a new set of companies called the ad network. The ad network acted as a sales representative or broker, buying unsold or remnant inventory from the publisher. They applied technology, aggregated the audiences, and sold packaged inventory on to the buyer, making it easier for them to target who they wanted. Barriers to entry for the ad networks were relatively low, and after some time an issue arose. There were lots of ad networks. In fact, hundreds of competing business models that were trading inventory in different ways. This made it hard for everyone, as they had to deal with lots of different companies looking for the best price to buy and sell their inventory. It also meant that advertisers could be buying the same audience more than once. There was a desperate need for more efficiency, which gave rise to a brand new business model called the ad exchange. The ad exchange created an opportunity for the buyers and sellers to trade audiences rather than inventory in the thousands. Sellers would make their audiences available on the platform. Buyers could then pick their audience and bid on them. The winner of the bid could now have their ad in front of the right audience at the right time. So, impressions could now be bought in two ways: the ad network, where it was aggregated and packaged up, and the ad exchange, where there was the opportunity to buy a specific audience. Both buy and sell side saw a massive opportunity here to increase efficiency and use technology to help the process of buying and selling. Some agencies created their own proprietary agency trading desk or invested in demand-side platforms, which gave them the ability to trade on the ad exchange efficiently and in real time, using data to influence their decision-making. So, that's the buy side. What about the sell side? Some publishers sold directly on the exchange. Others invested in a group of companies called sell-side platforms, which optimize the selling points for the publisher. The promise of this new workflow is exciting, but let's not forget about the ad network. The ad networks are still a convenient way to buy and sell media. If anything, there's now a new opportunity for them to buy and sell on the ad exchange, leveraging their offering. These systems work with data. The more advertising that is bought through these platforms, the more data is gathered and the more intelligent the systems will become. It's an exciting time. As a marketer, it's important to figure out where you fit and what data you can leverage to take advantage of real-time advertising.
Okay. So
To give some perspective,
that is AdTech for you guys. So this is great, right? We understood everything about AdTech start to end. Can anybody guess how old that video is? Just a guess.
Must be 5 years.
10 years.
Very good guess. 14 years.
Oh,
So basically, this entire ecosystem was developed by the developed world almost 13 to 14 years. And 14 years, this was an explanation video. The actual technologies existed even before that. So from there, ad technology has come a huge way to doing that. Now, so I'm going to go and explain to you in very, very simple terms what all of this is. I have created a similar analogy using what you call as a fruit marketplace because I love fruits. But I think before we get there, what I always say, first let's understand why do we need to learn this? What is the purpose of all of this? So in the world of advertising, especially digital, there are two types of, if I may call it, or the world is fragmented into two divisions. One is what you call as the walled gardens, and one is what you call as the open internet. With me so far? Now, what are walled gardens? You must have heard some of these names: Google, Meta, Amazon. Each of these guys are walled gardens of themselves. Now, why are they called walled gardens? Because they are an entire ecosystem where consumers come in billions, ads are shown in billions, and it doesn't interact with anybody else. What does that mean? That if you go, for example, on Meta and you run an ad campaign, the ad will be only shown on Meta and Meta own websites. If you have to buy a ad on, say, Swiggy, you cannot go on Meta and buy an ad on Swiggy. Fundamental understanding of walled gardens. And then there is what you call as the open internet. So for example, if you leave the Google, which is Google search, YouTube, everything, the Meta, Amazon, these 4-5 big walled gardens, it is the rest of the internet. So any news website. So for example, let's say you're sitting in India, or let's even make it specific. You're sitting in Indore or Delhi, and you want to run a campaign in and if I were to create a very real example, say Singapore. I'm just using this use case over here. How would you go about running the campaign? There is one option where you say, for example, you call up somebody locally in Singapore and say, yeah, I want to run this campaign. Can you tell me what to do? Which websites to target? Which is the most local website that is out there? Another way, but then this guy is going to charge Singapore dollars from you, because this person is going to say that, boss, I live in Singapore, I'm going to give you Singapore rates. So first you're going to pay me money for all this consulting, and on top of that I am going to basically, there's going to be the charges that the platform itself does. When we'll come to the charges and pricing in a bit. Now why is this a problem? This is a problem because now, for example, if this guy knows Singapore Times and maybe 3-4 websites, and say, but you want to also understand which is the local, say, Flipkart of Singapore. So when you want to target the local Flipkart of Singapore, you are like a Shopee or whatever. I'm just throwing brands. Now, how do you identify who to talk to when it comes to Shopee? So you have to find another person who will go and say, boss, can you allow me to put my ads on Shopee? Now, why we are putting ads there and all, we'll just come there. So it is actually very inefficient for you to what we call as direct selling. Now extrapolate this to so many other platforms in the world. Now come back to India itself. Do you want to basically actually say, if somebody tells you that I want to say, for example, target all the females in the country and sell them a leather bag, because you're in the business of being a leather bag. Money is not a problem right now. We'll come to the money part later on. What will you do? First, you will run a campaign on Google, Google Ads platform. Second, maybe you'll do something on Meta. But say after you tried both these platforms, you're not getting performance or you're not getting your desired results. So what will do? Oh, let us see if we can run an ad on Flipkart. Flipkart का number निकालते हैं, वो website पे जाते हैं, we'll go and find out Flipkart. Okay, great. Second, we'll go to Amazon. Now we tried Flipkart, now we tried Amazon. We finished them. They are also not working for us. अब क्या कर रहे हैं? What do we do? Now we don't even know which websites in the country are there, or ad platforms are there in the country that will allow you to purchase ads and essentially generate outcomes. And that solution has come through the world of AdTech, where basically you are able to, through a software, essentially purchase ads across any website online, on the internet. But it is not as simple as there's a lot of sophistication. So you must have seen in the video, they called out concepts like, the advertiser, which is you as a brand who wants to buy ads or run ads. There is the publisher, which is basically the website on which the ads will be shown. And then there is the intermediaries, where we should the ad exchange, the ad networks, and so on and so forth. But don't worry, what we will do is we will try to understand this slightly better. And I'm going to just share my screen. So we'll get into that. Okay, I can see a question. GDN is open internet or walled garden? So this is a very brilliant question. GDN has an illusion of open internet, but it is a walled garden owned by Google. It appears on websites which is controlled by Google, because those people have taken on Google specific ad inventory, which is called as AdSense or AdX. We'll come to AdSense. That is one part of the piece. So because of the scale of Google, and that's why Google is a monopoly in the advertising space, it corners at least 60 to 70% of what they call as the open internet that is out there. So the scale is very, very mammoth. But I think before we get into all of that, let's take one by one. Let's take the questions. Let me go to my screen. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great. Okay, so let us understand the different, and by the way, it is not that these methods of buying advertising is shut down. These methods of advertising still exists. So for example, IPL, which is the biggest advertising platform in India right now, right? When IPL happens, everything happens through direct selling. There is no software where you can buy. You have to know somebody at Jio Hotstar. You need to call that person and you need to basically say that I need to buy this. However, internally, Jio Hotstar has created a technology platform because it is all real-time cricket inventory. So while as an advertiser, there is a break in the chain, but as a technology platform, Jio Hotstar has an entire proprietary AdTech platform which it has built in order to serve ads on IPL, both TV as well as on the OTT platforms. Okay, so we'll come to that in a bit. So let's use this analogy of basically direct selling from a perspective of a fruit stand. So say the seller A is an orchard owner who basically sells apples, and the seller A is willing to sell apples at 100 rupees at 100 apples at 10 rupees a unit. Seller B sells oranges at 150 oranges at 12 rupees a unit. Now there is a local juice shop that wants 80 apples at 11 rupees a unit. There's a chain that wants 20 oranges at 10 rupees a unit. Very simple transaction. Apple orchard owner sells the local juice shop. Orange farm stand sells it to the restaurant. Clear? But in real world, a local juice shop likes to make cocktails. So they want to mix apple and orange into make a new cocktail. They want to call it Ganga Jamuna. Okay, I don't know what's the name, but let's say. So now this local shop wants to buy 80 apples from the apple and 40 oranges from the orange seller, farm stand. So that's how this person will purchase. So now the complexities become that one buyer, two sellers. Now imagine that we take this concept where there are multiple buyers and multiple sellers. And now again, what I'm assuming is that say orchard owner is the only person who is selling apples. Now it can be possible that there are 4 orchard owners. Each of them are selling apples, but different prices. So one is selling 10 rupees a unit, somebody is selling 20 rupees a unit, somebody is selling 15 rupees a unit. The other one is that orchard A only has 100 apples. Orchard B has only 50 apples. Orchard C has maybe only 10 apples. So say a local juice shop cannot go to Orchard C because a local juice shop wants 80 apples, but the local juice shop, but the Orchard C has only 20 apples. So it has to actually break down its inventory or requirement into 3 different components and essentially go to each of them. So if you were to do shopping, first you have to go to say Orchard C, then Orchard B, then Orchard A, and slowly you have to purchase the particular number of units. With me so far, direct sales, very easy, nothing too complicated. This is like what happens every time when you go to a market, right? That's how simple it is. With me so far? Yeah. Now let's talk about ad networks. Now remember I created the situation that now, for example, there are multiple sellers and multiple fruits, and there are multiple types of buyers as well. So for example, earlier there was just juice company, but now there's a restaurant, there is a dessert shop, there is a fruit basket service which sells directly to the consumer. Now please be cognizant about one thing: buyer X, buyer Y, buyer Z do not self-consume the fruit. They are taking the fruit to make a dish or make a juice, which they are selling it to the final consumer. So the final consumer has not yet come over here. This is pure play buyers and sellers. So if I were to say that this is Colgate trying to negotiate with, say, a Swiggy, or or say, for example, Maggie trying to buy from, say, for example, uh, 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 Amazon or whatever that is, right? Now, before that happened, what happened was somebody came in between, which is called as an ad network. Now, this guy is a fruit distributor. Think of this person as a person who has a warehouse. He does not own the fruit. He or she just has a warehouse, and uske paas 4-5 trucks hai. That person has 4-5 trucks. So what this guy does, because he's connected with all of these buyers, he knows exactly what is the demand. उसको पता है कि डेजर्ट को every month 30 grapes लगता है, 20 pineapples, 50 apples that it requires, and it also knows where to get the supply. So he does all the heavy lifting. So for buyer, why is this convenient? That person has to just go to the fruit distributor and say, boss, this is my grocery list. You please source all of this and give it to me. Does that make sense for ad networks? So what ad network says is that I will create a package for juice company. So if it is juice company 1, juice company 2, I will create a package comprising of 10 different fruits and I will basically give that. Now, if it is a dessert shop, I will create a separate package because in a dessert shop, for example, strawberries, maybe banana is extremely high demand, but maybe something like a chiku is not. But chiku juice, so juice people will order a lot of chikus. So therefore, that is the role of the ad network. With me so far, with this very, very simple analogy on the first two, this is how buying on digital marketing used to happen before 2005 or 2006. The revolution came when we started introducing programmatic. So now we're going to go into the meat of programmatic. So ready for that, guys? Okay. Now think of it in this way that if you look at this fruit market analogy of ad networks, it is still local fruit markets, right? It's like the distribution will be limited by the physical proximity of it. So fruit network guy sitting in Mumbai would not have connections with the fruit market guy in the north because it is unfeasible. Of course, there will be national fruit distributors who might have that ability, but most of the times the fruit distributors are local, correct? That's how it is. Now what programmatic did was programmatic essentially created what you call as an ad exchange. Think of this as commodity trading, right? The easiest example is stock market. Physically, the goods are nowhere, but all the goods are database and the inventory is stored in one national database, which then basically is connected with these platforms called as SSPs, supply side platforms, as well as what you call as a demand side platforms. So now what happens is that juice company does not even need to know anybody at the auction exchange. Juice company just needs to buy either or choose between a DSP A or a DSP B, and within that then basically it can place orders for whatever it requires. From a seller's perspective, Orchard A will sell it to will use something called as an SSP, which is an automated orchard manager with ad exchange. So technically SSP1 and DSP A are essentially doing the trading, while say for example the juice company is essentially just getting the final outcome over there. With me so far, or no, too much complications? Any questions so far? Are we good so far on understanding the ecosystem?
Can you please repeat once again?
Sure. Okay, so ad networks was essentially a type of fruit distributor. But the problem with fruit distributor was that this distributor started having all the inventory together, right? It had the aggregation, but it had limitations that it could not aggregate the inventory across the entire country. It was still very, very localized, right? It was very, very specific to a particular region. What programmatic did was it created a national, and in this case, if I were to show the advertising analogy, a global database or a global exchange platform. So any ad in any market, any platform, anything can be purchased through these to this entire ecosystem. The buying essentially happens through DSP-A, which is a technology platform, a software platform which juice company buys. So juice company basically works with DSP-A to essentially purchase it through the auction on the ad exchange. The sellers, which are different websites, essentially use what you call as an SSP to sell it to the different auction houses. Does that make sense, or it's still too complicated? I know it's a little difficult to understand, but that is the revolution of the technology.
So
Makes sense to me, but are you going to explain also how the ad exchange then works? How does the rates get decided in?
Yeah. That is my
Okay.
next part, which is the simulator. But
The
first,
the
to understand the ecosystem.
the other question that I had, Professor Nihal, is that the supplier side, the DSPs, specifically the ad exchange in Pragmatic, depend on what I, as a consumer or a brand, want to achieve, whether it's, for example, an Amazon DSP or a DV360 plus something. So how do we come to know? And because there are various teams who do it for the campaigns that I run, how does that knowledge come back to us that which DSP or the ad exchange in case of Pragmatic would be the most efficient? And how is that known? Does it come automatically to the media buying folks, or is that something that they would have to reach out to specific platforms?
No. So that is the trade secret of the programmatic ecosystem. That information is never revealed. That information is what these technology platforms essentially enable for you. But there are certain technologies that enable you to do this better. So there are specific use cases. And like I said, the selection of which DSP you will use depends on what outcome. Right now, I'm still talking about a conceptual, but when we go into the actual DSPs, understanding everything, I think things will become a little more clear. Right now, please understand that basically what I'm trying to say is now a juice company could either choose to buy the product directly from the farm. So this is like buying IPL directly from a Geo Hotstar. The juice company could choose to buy the inventory from an ad network. Ad network is, for a lack of word, agency which basically is collecting all this data and buying and selling it. Today, the ad network is pretty much dead. Most people don't have this kind of a ecosystem. And then there is what you call as the programmatic, which has basically become taken over all of the non-direct selling kind of a ecosystem. In fact, programmatic is now actually also enabling direct selling, but I don't want to confuse you right now. So just let's keep that on the side. But are we able to understand the different nodes in the ecosystem? There is the supplier, which is the actual orchard or the publishers. There is the automated platform that helps them sell it on the ad exchange. So what does this mean? An orchard A cannot, or a farm stand B cannot directly sell it to the auction house. If they have to sell it to the auction house, they have to do it via this technology platform called as an SSP. Does that make sense so much? And there are multiple hundreds of different SSPs available. Similarly, there are hundreds of DSPs available, which are available to the buyer to purchase that.
Sorry,
Itna,
one question.
basically, sorry.
One question that I had was that previously there was fixed inventory also in, for example, a masthead in a YouTube that you could either buy it from YouTube or you could get it from Mindshare in a block deal, right? And now it's also available, I believe, through Pragmatic. So how does that work in the ecosystem?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you exactly why this complex ecosystem exists. So your question is exactly correct. But before I explain why this exists, I just want to make sure that everybody understands the different components of ecosystem. We still have a lot to cover. This is just a starting point. So I'm going to talk about each of that. Does that make sense so far, everyone? Okay. The last component that is there is what you call as a DMP, a data management platform. Now, data management platform's job is to kind of identify the audiences and the demand that is required. So, for example, a juice company has a DMP which stores that for the past 6 months, how much apples did they bought, what is the kind of consumer that comes in, how many grapes did they bought, how many waste got wasted, how many did not get wasted, how many got utilized, and it allows you to basically identify that moving forward, it needs 20 apples 20 100 oranges. It allows you to identify that. So there is one last part of the puzzle which is called as a data management platform, a DMP. Are we are you guys with me so far? There's it's all over the place.
Does the DMP interact with the SSP?
With the DSP.
With the DSP?
Correct.
Hi, Professor Nihal. This is Himanshu.
Yes. Hi.
What is the role of ATD in this agency trading desk? How are they involved in this loop?
Sure. So agency trading desks actually sit between a juice company and a dessert shop. So think PNG. Okay. PNG is a global brand. Now, PNG as a global brand does not want to deal with DSP as well. So what they're going to do is they're going to have a proprietary deal, or a Unilever. They're going to have a proprietary deal with one of the big agencies, which is say a Publicis or a Group M. And Group M will create a specific technology platform, which is called as the agency trading desk, where there will be multiple DSPs. So that the purpose of that agency trading desk is to identify the right DSPs for say someone like a PNG. So ATD is essentially the highest, is actually built for like the biggest advertisers on the planet, and the deals go into millions of dollars for those kind of platforms. So that is there, what it is.
Thank
So,
you.
sorry, the smaller buyers or smaller brands, for example, you're talking about Unilever, unke liye we create agency trade desks. But the mid-size companies or the small-size companies, do they do direct buying, or do they have to go through?
Combination of both. So they will do direct selling. They might go with some ad networks, but mostly they start with programmatic. And because programmatic platforms are quite easy. So DV360, for example, is quite easy, or a Criteo is quite easy. You directly deal with them. So I'm going to come to that. So I'm going to come to real world, how these applications come through. But before that, please understand the different components of this entire piece. Okay. All right. So I think what we'll do is we
Sorry,
will.
I had posted one more question. Essentially, the entire ad inventory, which is controlled by the SSP or by the next phase, I'm forgetting that. All of that is the inventory gets decided basis the audience, right?
So, okay, since you breached it, I'm going to say. Now, in the world of programmatic advertising, now why do we need such a complicated supply chain ecosystem? This is essentially a supply chain, right? Why do we need such a complicated ecosystem? Because, like explained on the video, what you're essentially buying is a combination of audiences as well as basically the placement, which is denoted by impressions. So what I'm trying to say, and that cannot be explained by maybe an apple or a fruit analogy, but I am saying I want to target 18 to 24 males, and I want to target it on say image ads on sports, on any content on internet which talks about sports. So when you're buying ad inventory, it is that granular and that specific. And because of the nature of the internet, where there are more than 6 billion, or actually 4.5 billion people across the world accessing it, there are trillions of ad inventories and ad audiences that are bought and sold every day. And we'll see that when we look at the different DSP data points that are out there.
Okay.
So the scale is so high that no human person can essentially do it. And the fundamental part of this entire piece is that it's an auction-based system. And that is the reason why all of this is there. Now, what is the auction-based system? It's a new concept that I'm going to introduce. Now, the fundamental difference between the three forms over here is that in direct selling, you are not going to define, say, for example, a unit rate. You will basically say, I have 800 rupees and I want 80 apples. And that's how you will purchase. In the ad networks platform, you will say, I want 800 apples. Fruit distributor will then identify what is the best rate across all the people that they got and tell you, oh, 800 apples, you'll have to pay 75 rupees. In auction, every apple is an auction, every fruit is an auction, every impression is an auction, which means that today, for example, say in India, every program system, there are 100 advertisers, each trying to buy impressions. Tomorrow, there can be 95 advertisers. Day after tomorrow, there can be 120 advertisers. Every day, different advertisers, because depending on the campaign, they can run different, there's a different demand. So demand goes up, goes down, just like stock market. Every second, in fact, every stock market at least operates for fixed hours in a day. Ad ecosystem, which is the programmatic ecosystem, which is the advertising ecosystem, is non-stop. So every day, every website you see is a buyable impression. But if you don't monetize it from a supplier perspective, It is a perishable commodity. Now, let me give you an example. So today I say I am Times of India. And today, as of today, I have 1 million users coming on my website. If I don't sell ads to all 1 million people of them, then tomorrow that 1 million people might go 500,000, it might go 1.2 million. But that is a perishable inventory. It's an unmonetized inventory. So for a publisher like Times of India, if 1 million people have come today to my website, I need to be selling ads to all those 1 million people. But the problem statement is that because programmatic allows you to buy at a per person level or per user level, it is possible that even if I have 1 million users coming to my website, say there is not enough demand. Advertisers don't want to buy that 1 million users on my website. Now, how is the real world scenario that is happening? Say Times of India has 50% audiences from Mumbai and 50% audiences from Delhi. But this is your average on a daily basis. But today, there is only 3 advertisers and they only want to buy audiences in Mumbai. So when they are using the programmatic ecosystem, they're only buying audiences in Mumbai, and therefore the Delhi audiences go unsold. So one of the reasons of using SSPs is these technology platforms enables the Times of India to match the advertisers depending on what audiences they want to buy and get better and better efficiencies. So for example, if there is no demand for Delhi audiences, then the Orchard will not sell Delhi audiences at 100 rupees per audience. It will actually sell that for 30 rupees per audience today. But say if Mumbai audiences, the demand is higher, then the SSP will programmatically or algorithmically increase the prices so that normal price is 100 rupees, but it will now start selling it at 125 rupees.
Is it like something like aeroplane ticket prices?
Yes.
Okay.
But think aeroplane ticket prices on steroids, because every second the price will change.
Yeah.
In fact, every millisecond the prices will change.
Yeah. So on the similar lines, this completely functions.
Correct. Now the purpose of DSP is ulta. Because the supply chain is completely changing the prices on a millisecond basis, the purpose of DSP is to buy it at the cheapest. So for example, juice company says, I want to buy 100 apples, 50 oranges, 30 bananas. The purpose of DSP is to identify how can I buy those bananas and apples at the cheapest cost.
So then the trick lies in essentially identifying the right DSP to manage your
For the advertiser. If you're a
yeah, for
publisher,
the
then
advertiser.
the trick lies in basically identifying the specific SSPs. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Google AdWords is DSP or SSP?
DSP.
Okay.
It's a demand side platform. You use Google Ads to purchase ads on the Google ecosystem. Now, it's a special kind of DSP because here Google only controls Google is only the DSP, Google is only the SSP. So you understand, if this was any legal place, then you would say it's a conflict of interest. Same thing with Meta or a walled garden. The DSP is also Meta, the SSP is also Meta, and the auction house is also Meta. Amazon, DSP is Amazon, auction house is Amazon, SSP is also Amazon. Because ad कहाँ पे चल रहा है? When you say, let's say Meta, ad कहाँ पे चल रहा है? Facebook पे चल रहा है, Instagram पे चल रहा है. All of the properties owned by Meta itself. So its own SSP is there, its own auction house is there, and then who is buying in Meta? The advertisers are creating account and purchasing over there.
So I mean, for these walled garden publishers, there is really none. There's no automatic bidding that happens, right? Because
No, automatic, of course, that is the point. Meta and Google all require you to do automated bidding, which means that the prices fluctuate by the number of advertisers. So if today on Meta there are 1,000 advertisers and each one is saying, I want to buy X amount of inventory targeting 18 to 24 youngsters, tomorrow that number of advertisers can go below. So the purpose of Meta is to basically maximize these ads. Second thing on Meta, and to give you an example of placement. Now on Meta, I can say I want to run ads for 18 to 24 females, but only on Instagram. I don't want it to run Facebook because Facebook is for old people. So what is happening is that now Instagram is getting monetized, but Facebook, the main platform, is not getting monetized. So now its platform will try to sell Facebook inventory very cheap to the other advertisers who are trying to buy it on Facebook so that they can get that thing. Now, if say, for example, even within Instagram, I say, Instagram, I want more people to purchase on Reels because I think most people are on the Reels right now. Now, Reels is becoming a premium inventory. So the cost of buying inventory on Reels will go up, but the cost of buying inventory on non-Reel inventory within Instagram, which is like, oh, feed mein aata hai, will go down. So the granularity of the costing also goes very up. And now taking it one step ahead, Google and Meta is saying, you don't even, itna bhi dimag mat lagao. I have AI, you just give me budget, I will only discuss where I will put. So DSP is theirs. And the problem statement that you said, how do I know which is the right DSP, which placement do I do, what do I do? Google and Meta is saying, wo bhi karne ki zarurat nahi. Main full automatic kar dega. Full AI. So they have the DSP, they have the auction house, ad exchange, they have the SSP, and connecting all of this, they are saying there is AI that will basically do everything for you. That is what they're saying. So now you understand why there is one opposing force in the market dynamics which says Google, Meta are basically monopolizing the world. So there is a third like front, which is an open internet ecosystem where this thing still exists and therefore people are purchasing over here. Now, unfortunately or fortunately, in a country like India, Google and Meta are the dominant guys because they reach more than 400, 500 million audiences, which is the digital population of the country. There is no other website or publisher except maybe an IPL that is able to crack that much. And therefore, you can see that IPL gets the monies that they are getting. And IPL is again another closed ecosystem where normal people cannot purchase. You have to have a certain minimum amount of money to be done. But the beauty of this entire programmatic platform is that if you even have just 5 or 10 lakh rupees, you can actually start, or even lesser than that. But if you had to go with the direct buy, like IPL, you or me cannot buy IPL. Your minimum investment is 10 crores or 5 crores or whatever that amount is. So you need to have that much amount. So that is the reason of programmatic ecosystem. It democratizes the entire ecosystem. Second one, it is actually an open market ecosystem. So when you purchase on the open market, there are certain benefits to it. And like I said, when we see the different DSPs, you'll come to know. Clear? Okay. Now let's go to the simulator. Okay. Now, while this is not exactly how it works, okay, it is actually a net of all the costs. There is an entire supply chain, right? There is multiple things that are happening. But essentially now there is one advertiser who is placing an order. There is a DSP which is using the order but is taking a percentage fee of that particular order. There is the ad exchange, there is the SSP, and then there is the final publisher. So now let's say I'm taking order number 1. Now what happens in this order number 1? A customer has visited Orchard A and says, I love sweet fruits. I am looking for ripe apples. Orchard A sends fruit availability to SSP1. SSP forwards it to Fruit Auction. Fruit Auction sends to all the DSPs. DSPA, so juice company says, I want to buy one apple for 1 rupee 27 paisa. Desert shop says, I want to order one apple for 61 paisa. Now, because the juice company, and why they have ordered more, because unko immediately customer ka demand hai. There might be 50 apple juices that they want to buy. So fruit auction determines that the highest bid is 1 rupee 27 paise from DSPA for juice company. So juice company gets the fruit, and basically your desert shop does not get the apple. And therefore advertisers pays 1.27, and then at each change of the supply chain there is a margin. So the DSP takes probably 25 paisa, the ad exchange basically takes about 10 paisa, SSP takes another 14 paisa, and the publisher ends up making 78 paisa. So out of the 1 rupee 27 that the advertiser was willing to pay, because of the entire supply chain, the publisher makes 78 paisa. The rest of the money is taken from the ecosystem. Is this understood little bit somewhat? In the real world is a little more complicated than this, but just to give you an example. Does this make sense? Okay, let's do one more simulation. Let's take a new order number 2. Now in order number 2, basically what is happening is that juice company and desert shop both pays it. I say I'm going to pay only 85 paisa. So now the fruit auction basically determines that it will give the DSP from juice A the order, and therefore it makes that. Now the total advertiser spend has become 2 rupees because 1.47 from the last one and then another 85 paisa, out of which the DSP has kept 42 paisa, ad exchange 17, but the publishers earned 1 rupee 30 paisa. Now we'll simulate a third order. Now what is this telling you? For every order, the price of the apple can be different. Here, apple is equal to 1 impression. So every impression, the price will be different, depending on the demand, depending on what bidding is happening, depending on the supply economics that are out there. So the system basically engineers so that that kind of what do you say exchange is happening over there. Now imagine that nobody buys 1 or 2 impressions. Everybody buys impressions in the batches of 1,000, which is why it's called CPM, cost per millions or milli, sorry, which is thousands. And then basically you buy, say, 1 billion impressions, 100 million impressions. That's how the buying happens. With me so far, I know it's a little technical, but I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for you guys. If I do more simulation, that's what exactly is going to happen, right? That's how the entire chain works. Okay, so I talked about something like a DMP, but before we come to the DMP, let's talk about the demand supply scenarios. Now there are 3 specific scenarios. There is a high DSP demand and high SSP supply. There is a high DSP demand and low SSP supply, and low DSP demand, high SSP supply. There can be a low DSP demand, low SSP supply as well, but that means that nobody's advertising, but that is not going to happen in the real world. So what happens if there is a high demand, high supply? The publisher has a lot of fruit, so it has huge amount of apples and oranges, whatever. SSP is trying to optimize for volume and fair price because there are many fruits to sell and many buyers interested. Ad exchange goes. Now DSP basically knows that it is essentially getting a lot of fruit. The advertiser is trying to buy a lot of fruit. So DSPs are trying to find good volume at competitive prices. So what is trying to say, my advertiser wants 1,000 apples. I'm ready to pay 10 rupees now, but because I know that my advertiser has so much money, I'm able to find out a way to negotiate the prices at extremely low price. Now what happens in this particular case? SSP efficiently sells a large volume of fruit and DSP gets the inventory that is required. Revenue for the publisher is also maximized, while the advertisers are also very, very happy. Now look at the situation when there is a high DSP demand but low SSP supply. This is scarcity. So the publisher says there's a scarcity. Now somebody told an example of a YouTube masthead. Similarly, there is Hotstar masthead. Now these are specific inventories on specific publishers, but it is scarce. They create artificial gating for these pieces. Now, because it's a scarce inventory, but there are too many people who want to buy the same inventory, the SSP is now optimizing for premium price, which means the SSP knows that the demand is very high, but there are only 100 units up for grabs. So it says few fruits to sell, but high demand drives of the value. The DSP is giving very, very high bids. Now the DSP is not optimizing for lowest cost. Now the DSP is programmatically and algorithmically trying to bid for getting that inventory because getting the inventory is more important. The pricing is not a problem. And therefore the advertisers start paying premium for that.
Just a quick question here.
Yes.
How does a DSP understand that my SSP is very low, fruits are very scarce? How
That
does
is ad exchange. So this essentially exchanges data with the ad exchange. All of this is data exchange, right? So DSP gets data from ad exchange gets data from the SSP.
No, that's okay. But then how does DSP understand that in this current ad exchange or whatever the transactions are going on, my fruits are actually scarce? That figure, reflects there how many fruits are available?
Yes, that's the whole idea. That is the whole idea.
Okay, fine. Understood.
So the DSP is like, it's saying that there are 1 million units in the market, but you are placed an order for 3 million units. So therefore the price is going to go up, and it algorithmically identifies and tries to get that price down for you.
Yeah, understood.
Now
So
imagine
Professor,
this happening for every millisecond. So every millisecond, it identifies how much inventory is available and then tries to optimize the price.
now where does mindshare sit in the case of YouTube master inventory in this case?
So in
Would it
this case, there is no mind share. In this case, a mind share or an agency will actually sit between the advertiser and the person running the DSP or operating the DSP. So there will be talent that will be sitting over here.
got it? And what I wanted to understand when we used to deal with Mindshare, they used to do a bulk buy of say around 32 mastheads on an annual basis directly, which they used to sell for a premium for customers seeking the master inventory. So in that case, they were dealing directly with the seller themselves, or were they dealing with the okay, got it. They were dealing with this one.
So this is where they are cornering the inventory. They are buying because
Hmm.
they already know that juice company is going to place 10 orders, desert shop is going to place
Hmm.
5 orders. So pehle se they go and tell the sellers, I want 15 orders, I will pay upfront money to you and sell it to the advertisers at a premium by creating artificial scarcity. So that is why the people and while they are my peers and they are the pieces, this model is going away because the reason somebody like a Group M or a Dentsu was able to do this is because it had hundreds of advertisers and already had data that what will be the demand like. So they were able to negotiate those rates and do the bulk buy and set it up. With programmatic, it is no longer so Group M cannot do a bulk buy anymore. Now, or a Dentsu cannot do a bulk buy anymore. A Publicis cannot do a bulk buy anymore. Everything is transparent. Everything is on the software. It is like trading. So it's like having grow zero the interface, and depending on the stop loss and whatever price unit price you're putting it will automatically place the order and complete the transaction for you. So imagine that advertising is become like trading, and trading basically is becoming extremely sophisticated, and different SSPs have different unique selling propositions. Some will say that I have a intelligence on X. Some US SSPs will say I have or DSPs will say I have a certain product feature which nobody else has, and that is
And
the reason
can
of the ecosystem. Yeah,
I'm sorry, what can we
sure.
block inventory using pragmatic?
Yes. So in
Is
its
there a time duration?
correct. So now in its purest form, this is all real-time auctions as it call it. Okay, so I'm coming to what you're asking, Anmol. So in its purest form, programmatic is a real-time auction, which means that every millisecond, all these dealings are happening. But because programmatic started getting a lot of traction, they also started introducing features for doing bulk buy, and especially also doing features for what you call as direct selling. So what has started happening is now the definition of SSP, DSP is collapsing, DMP is collapsing. It's all one platform that does everything. So technically a DV360 is a DSP, a DMP. It is also sort of a network which is bulk buying. It does everything. So what is happening is that technology platforms are no longer isolated. It is actually a platform that does everything end to end. And you'll see that when I go through the different platforms. So what is happening is increasingly because of technology, bolo, AI, bolo, everything is collapsing into a single system. So what Google and Meta said that, remember I told you that Google and Meta, they are only the SSP, they are only the DSP. Now the DSPs thought that, why am I only a DSP? Why am I not the auction house? Why am I not the SSP as well? So they started doing everything together. So everybody does everything. If I were to put it, that's the state of the ecosystem right now.
So
Okay.
one thing, where does Taboola, Outbrain fall in this ecosystem? They are DSPs?
Taboola is a DSP and an SSP. So Taboola is a DSP that allows you to buy one specific niche type of inventory. So it is a DSP that allows you to buy that inventory, but at the same time, it has also created an SSP so that the Times of India and wherever their ad comes in, those people will use the Taboola SSP as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the last thing that you need to know is a data management platform. Now, what is essentially a data management platform? It basically is something that collects and organizes customer data. So, for example, in a DMP, it could and DMP is also separate. Okay, it's private to the advertiser. It is not like there's a universal DMP. The DMP is very specific to specific advertisers. So, for example, the juice company can invest in a DMP that collects data for customers interested in fruits for beverages. So, what it is collecting? Okay, juice company says two of my biggest customers are health drink enthusiasts and juice lovers. The health drink enthusiasts typically like to have berries and spinach in their health drinks, and juice lovers love to have oranges, and is a segment it needs to go after. The dessert shop says that its audience are home bakers who typically like to buy berries, apples, and bananas. And then the other people are the sweet tooth people who would like to have cherries, grapes, and other pieces. A restaurant chain would say there are salad lovers, so avocados, lemons, and tomatoes, and gourmet foodies, figs, pears, etc. etc. Similarly, fruit basket service segments, wine merchant segments. So DMP, in a way, sort of is a segment which says all of this. And then by using this DMP, advertisers essentially give the instruction to DSP saying that I want to buy craft brewers, I want to buy 100 craft brewers, or I want to show an ad to 100 people who are brewing craft brewers, and therefore I want to purchase 50 apples, 30 pears, and 20 whatever other fruits that are out there. That is how a DMP comes into the place. Now, in today's world, the DSP itself has integrated the DMP. The programmatic platforms are becoming unified. So everyone does everything. So you no longer need to have separate ecosystems, but you may choose to partner with different ecosystems based on the data platforms that are out there. We'll come to that. I am going to stop sharing my screen right now before we go to the next part. Okay. Do we want to have a quick discussion, or are we clear on what the ecosystem looks like so far, or is it too complicated for a lot of people still?
Yeah, so one question I have.
Yeah.
One question I have. Every provider, for example, Vertos. So Vertos will have its own sets of distribution, be it exclusive or non-exclusive, and some other party may also have the same inventory. It's basis my relationship with either Vertos or party B. I can go forward with, obviously, with the pricing aspect as well. There is no exclusivity as such.
You're describing direct buying, Sagar. So in programmatic inventory, because of a technology platform, everything that you want to sell is available across for everybody. Anybody can buy, anybody can sell. That is the ecosystem. Now, how you buy, what you buy is happening through this auction system, which is happening at the auction house that is there at the ad exchange that's happening at the center. That's how it is.
Okay.
Yeah. But in real world, for example, let's take another example of Times of India. Now, Times of India does not say 100% of its ad inventory is programmatic. In real world, what Times of India does, it does direct selling. So for the homepage ads, it actually does not sell it through programmatic. It says that is my exclusive inventory, premium inventory, ye main direct selling hi karega. So the rates are non-transparent. You don't know how they are doing it. You have to contact somebody in the Times of India ad sales team to buy that inventory. But for the rest of the website, they have linked it to the programmatic ecosystem, so anybody can buy and sell that inventory, essentially.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
So I had one just basic question, because you took the example of IPL, right? Saying that Jio Hotstar has its own platform to do advertisements. So for example, basis the ad network structure that you just showed, let's say Jio Hotstar says that between every over of the IPL, we have 15 seconds. So we have 3 slots of, let's say, 5 seconds, which we can give to 3 advertisers to do their advertising, right? Now, now from the structure that you gave, let's say I, as an advertiser, I have 5 seconds I can buy. I mean, after the 15 seconds, I can buy a 5-second advertising slot between every over. So from the structures that you gave just now, under which framework does this fall in? Like for every 15 second, 5-second slot, I can purchase it. So will that go again through that auction mode, or is it like a direct selling?
Correct. So what Jio Hotstar has done is it has built an SSP, but the SSP does not talk to the auction house. So therefore not opening up the inventory to the rest of the world. The SSP is now controlled by Jio people sitting within Jio. So what it has done is, like, to take your analogy or actually telling a real world example, 3 months before IPL, it goes to all of its partners, everybody, advertisers, and says, let me know if I have created this pre-packaged slots. You pay 5 crores, you will get 1 billion views. You want to set up an ad on Chennai Super Kings wala matches, I can do that. You want to set an ad on basically every time there's a six, I can do that. So it creates these pre-packaged packages which talks about the sixes and everything like that. Now, when the actual match is happening, no human can sit and actually say every over के बाद ये करें. Now, गलती से six लग गया. How do you know that ये तीन advertiser का ad चलना है? Because they have sold the sixes at a premium. They have said that sixes के ऊपर अगर आपको appear करना है, then I will charge you 120 rupees. Normally, I charge you 100 rupees. Now, six has just happened. How can you sit and actually put that? So what they've done is, basis the advertiser package, they've inputted the advertiser creative assets, the video films, the banners, put the logic in place that this advertiser will only get triggered when there is a six or whatever, and they've configured that in the SSP while buying. Then in real time, when the match is happening, basis the actual match happening, it essentially sends a signal back to the SSP, Geo's internal SSP, if I may to call it, and that SSP then triggers the relevant advertiser on that particular moment. And that's how that system creates those unique distribution of ads. So what Geo has done has created an AdTech platform for its internal viewership, because real-time match के moments के हिसाब से, inventory के हिसाब से, it gives you those ad slots and those serving those ads that are relevant over there.
Got it. So, but for example, sir, sometimes we see that, certain overs have a gap of 15 seconds, certain might be 10 seconds. So they are creating that demand. I mean, like you said, the demand and supply thing that, we will give 15 seconds short. But what happens is, if you notice, certain ads are cut short, the over starts. Like, for example, the over starts, right? So from an advertiser, I have already spent my money for those 5 or 6 seconds, right? But my ad is not fully shown, so I don't get the full views which I have been promised from the publisher.
Correct.
How does
Correct.
that work? Like, is that an artificial scarcity thing
It
that
is.
which you said
It
that you
is.
will get short?
It is an artificial scarcity, and this is where Geo does another smart play. So while on TV and on the live streaming of the matches, your inventory cannot be reserved. Like, for example, rains came and the match went away. Your ad slots are gone, right? Perishable inventory.
Correct. Yep.
Where Jio basically has done the smartness is its ad system, because on OTTs, people will watch the ad highlights and the actual match repeat at on demand even later on. So now what Jio knows is that for every match, like say if Chennai Super Kings versus Mumbai Indians match is there, and say 100 million people turned up on the live stream, but another 300 million people watched the match after it got over because it was so brilliant. The play was amazing. So now it knows that while the live stream matches are X, in the subsequent follow-up highlights and all that content that it puts on Jio Hotstar, there's a further X inventory that is available. So it will then automatically take this advertiser from here and show the ads over there. And it says that while it is not like to like, 160-second ad or 110-second ad is equal to 500 million impressions on the post ad that you have kind of asked me for. So the SSP essentially does all of this, the Geo's internal proprietary SSP does all of this calculation and ensures that the ad inventory is maximized as well as the advertiser gets what he's paying for, because otherwise then the advertisers will be like, tumne fraud kiya. You have done a fraud, you've taken so much money,
Right.
but not done. So their internal system does all this monetization maximization.
Got it. And then same thing if we apply to like Google, how do they make their money from this? Like how are they going to earn after the advertiser is paid the money? They are promised that we will show this much views, you get this much impressions.
So let's take YouTube. Why do you go to YouTube? Because T series comes and puts their favorite songs, because content creator comes and do podcasts. So YouTube has a reward program which says, I will pay you X amount of money if you create content. Same thing with Meta. Now, because they create content and it is open source and there are so many creators, more people come on YouTube, more people watch. Because more people come and watch, now YouTube is saying, I have so much inventory available, why don't you start spending? So YouTube also is a combination of fixed buy, as we call it, or direct selling ad inventories, as well as programmatic inventories. So the more inventory they get, the more content they get, the more people come on the platform, the more advertisers come on the platform, the more they basically run ads over there. So for the last, whatever, 6 months or 8 months or whatever, Google is basically pushing almost all the large traditional advertisers, TV and all of that, to spend more and more on YouTube and the platforms that they own. Same thing done by Meta. And that is where the shift is happening. So you remember when you saw the media report, the spends are shifting from TV and print and radio to Google and Meta and ecosystem. This is the shift that is primarily driving all of that particular piece. So that's how it typically happens. There's obviously a lot more depth to all of this, Ruben. I mean, if we could decipher their model, then we all would be nice millionaires. But there's a lot more complexity. But essentially, they are building up the watch time, they're building the engagement, the time spent on their own platforms, and then therefore driving more advertisers to push more and more inventory order. That's what they're essentially doing.
Got it, sir. Thanks.
So guys, if you see this conversation that is there, the whole game is of managing supply demand. The platform, AdTech platform, is essentially just to use technology to manage it at scale at a very, very precise level, precision level of 1 millisecond for every inventory that is being bought or sold. Yeah, with me? Any other further questions? Now, one trivia question. I took the name of a few DSPs here and there. I may have taken the name of a few SSPs. I never took the name of the most important part in the value chain, the auction house or the ad exchange. Any guesses on maybe who is operating the ad exchange or where it is, or who basically, or is it like an internet, it is open for everybody? Any guesses on that?
It must be open for everybody.
While it is okay, not true.
You did mention Google AdX.
So now you know why Google is the most powerful ecosystem in the digital world. It owns the auction house that powers everything because it was fundamentally their technology that brought programmatic to the world. So we think Google is big because they own search. Of course, search is a very big property, and so is YouTube. They're trying to push, but relatively much of their inventory is unmonetized. They are basically, if I were to put it, they make about $30 to $40 per person on an average across the world. In India specific markets, obviously the monetization is lesser, but in markets like US, the monetization is more. But typically around $20 to $30 is what they are making per user per year. There is like about 4 billion users who use YouTube. So $20 into 4 billion, that's $80 billion of revenue that they are making every year. That's how they make the money. So when they charge you YouTube Premium and they're charging you 2,500, 3,000 rupees, they're basically arbitraging that cost ARPU that they're making through advertiser money that they're having. That's how they're kind of getting it. But the real reason that Google makes so much money is data. It owns the auction house for the open internet. I'm not even talking about Google owned that monopoly ecosystem. Search YouTube में तो वो खुद ही कर रहा है पूरा. It owns the auction house for the open internet, AdX. It's called AdX. You can read it upon it. So it actually knows every rupee that has been spent on the open internet. So if, say, for example, Colgate decides to buy ads on Times of India, at some point in the supply chain, it passes through the Google data service. So it also knows that. That is why, despite its best attempts, Meta is still not able to overtake Google in its ad inventory. Amazon has just come onto the picture. Meta tried to do something similar by building a system called as Meta Ad Network, but they failed miserably. and therefore they are still number two. Of course, Meta, because it owns WhatsApp and Instagram and this, it's a very big platform, but it was easily challenged when TikTok came into the place. So Meta and TikTok, they are closely fighting against each other, but they are nowhere close to killing the dominance of Google. And Google Plus Plus is because they also own Chrome, by the way. So it's all a game of data. It's all a game of demand, supply, and Google has all the data in the world to predict the demand and the supply, and therefore set the prices. 8 years ago, you could buy a video view on YouTube for 10 paisa, 15 paisa. Today, minimum you have to pay 50 paisa to get a view on YouTube. Why is this escalation? Of course, not just because more advertisers have come into place. It because Google knows that this is the amount of data and people are willing to pay on the internet. Of course, that is the reason why Jio Hotstar and IPL is close guarded. While some of the numbers come on news channels and everything, Google still does not have data, or Google or Meta, that what is happening behind IPL. So if you see, Google and Meta are very, very strongly trying to sell that while you do IPL, मैच के बीच में पीपल आर ऑन देयर फोन्स, इंस्टाग्राम कर रहे हैं, तो उस टाइम पे आप इंस्टाग्राम पे आके ऐड चलाओ, because money wise it will not make so much money. They will not able to ever take the money out of IPL, but the data is critical because they will know how many people are actually watching their phones while the match is happening. So that's how they are kind of doing. So again, if you now to recap the purpose, right? That platform exists because of the scale, etc. The technology platform exists there, but eventually advertising, like any other industry, is about supply demand. For the publishers, it's about maximizing the revenue and eliminating the perishable inventory. So somebody had given the example of airline. Aaj flight uda, if the flight takes off, it has about 200 seats in total. It has to sell those 200 seats. If it says 160 seats, those 40 seats are unsold forever. It's a perishable commodity. Same thing with hotels. Same thing with advertising. Today, if there are 1 billion users going through all the websites in the world, then those 1 billion have to be monetized. If they don't get monetized, then that is unsold perishable inventory that is out there. So right now, the non-monetized inventory is at least maybe 7 to 8 times that of monetized inventory. So Google Meta, despite having so much huge billions of dollars through ad inventory, it is still, there's a huge headroom for all of them to make a lot of money over there. And that is the essence of this entire thing.
How does searches on GPT and Perplexity shape fit into this? Because from
No.
whatever news we have heard so far, they are also monetizing their searches, and a lot of people have shifted from Google search to GPT search. It's been like
No. So that is a consumer behavior shift, Akansha. People are using more and more of ChatGPT, but the advertising world is still ruled from Google's lens. So any advertiser, like if you're an advertiser right now, how much money are you going to put on ChatGPT? Are you going to put 100% of your budgets on ChatGPT as of today? Even though you know a lot of consumers are using, no, you will not. Right? You will still put ads on YouTube. You will still put ads on Google search. And that is a difference. The money and the revenue is still on these primary properties owned by Google and Meta. There's a threat, no doubt, but it is still not moved or replaced. That's how it is.
Is Google search advertising getting impacted from AI, from people shifting to
As,
Perplexity or
as of
ChatGPT?
now,
Even
no,
Google
not the
itself,
advertising,
even
not the
Google
advertising.
is not showing that many ads in desktop or even mobile because they are, prioritizing the organic result or AI generated result at the top of the search query. So is
So
there
how are they prioritizing? I don't know, but their ad revenue on search is continuously growing. Last year to this year, at least 20 to 30% it has grown. So they may have found a better way to monetize it for sure by also integrating AI mode, etc. But it is essentially growing for sure. As of now, there is no threat on Google search, at least from the advertising perspective.
I have a question. Specifically, when someone is, say, for example, working with a DV360 or as a media buyer, and I don't do that directly, but how much has AI integrated into that ecosystem? Like, for example, if they are taking a certain inventory, would AI, basis the data that has been fed, that platform will also give certain recommendations that this is something that might be more appropriate and this will give you better results? And how is now it talking to back to each other with the data platforms? Does it give better top funnel and mid funnel optimization through a campaign?
Okay, so loaded question, but there are fragments to it. Even without AI, the whole AdTech ecosystem is built for maximization of ROI and value, right? So even when you okay, now let's take one step behind. Why would you buy ads on DV360, or why would you buy ads on, say, any other programmatic platform? If Google and Meta, if say you're a small business and you have like 25 lakh rupees, then you would put that money on Google and Meta. No, that is enough. Why do you want to put money on programmatic or any other ecosystem, right? That's your fundamental question. So that question stems from the fact is, what is your revenue? What's your ROI? And what is the use case of using a programmatic? Is there something that programmatic can offer to you that, say, for example, a Google cannot offer? Now, let me take an example from an e-commerce space. How valuable is, now, of course, you're running your ads on Google. Of course, you're running your ads on Meta. How valuable would it be for you to get e-commerce audiences data from Amazon and Flipkart? Amazon has the data of anybody shopping on any product on Amazon. So technically, Amazon's DSP is a programmatic platform.
Right.
So if you are, say, for example, you have opened a new organic candles business. Already there are hundreds of people selling on Amazon, and Amazon has a data which it is available, which it is allowing you to target on the DSP, which the ads will be shown on the open internet, basically any website essentially. So now, while you're running Google Meta, you would also want to run an Amazon DSP saying that I want to target anybody who has bought a scented candle, because these are my audiences, and I want to show them an ad saying that I also am building scented candles. Or say, for example, you are a restaurant. Want to target any of the consumers who have purchased basically high-end grocery and gourmet foods, olive oils on Amazon. You will want to target those audience and say that, boss, I am a gourmet dining experience. Why don't you come to me? So the point is, each of the nodes in the programmatic ecosystem has a different value proposition, and depending on what you're trying to accomplish, there might be different use cases of utilizing that. Now, within that, AI obviously is accelerating, hyper accelerating. Like, for example, if you go to Amazon and say you're a restaurant and you are going on Amazon and you're like, I want to target anybody who buys groceries. But that does not tell anything, because everybody buys groceries. So why would a person buying grocery actually be have affinity towards probably buying or coming to my particular restaurant? Now AI, you use the native AI features to say what kind of audiences are more likely to come to dine over here. Now maybe this AI will reveal that it is actually not the people who buy groceries, but it's actually the people who buy high-end electronics from Amazon, who are your TG, because you're a gourmet or a fine dining restaurant that is out there. So your targeting is not people who buy groceries. Your targeting is people who buy high-end, like they spend 2-3 lakhs on Amazon every year. So your audience is HNIs, because they are the kind of people who would be more likely to spend 5,000 rupees on a dining experience. So the AI system will then recommend this to you. I mean, normal people who are doing this day in, day out, they might get this, but for them it will be intuitive. But for people who are not intuitive, AI gives you these kind of insights. Now, I'll give you an example of an insight which will be very shocking, but this is what I give everywhere. So, pepper fry, right? We all know it is in the business of online furniture. If you were to say which audiences to target for Pepperfry, everybody would say, I want to target people who are looking for furniture, people interested in home decor, people interested in, whatever, healthy home living and all of those things, right? That is what they are there. That is what we also continue. That is what is also generating revenue. By doing a little bit of data diagnosis on who are the actual purchasers of flat, we found that people who are extremely health conscious tend to purchase those for Pepperfry furniture a lot. And specifically, people who drink green tea tend to be have high affinity to people who buy Pepperfry furniture. Now, what is a relationship? Maybe people who are green tea are basically very health conscious. People who are very health conscious, they are spending more time maybe jogging and walking. I said for them, basically this do it yourself IKEA type concept. Sorry, do it yourself IKEA type furniture is something that they would probably be more willing to invest in rather than generally anybody wants to do that. A lot of people who buy furniture, they may not buy pepper fry furniture. They might buy furniture from their nearby furniture wala because it comes cheaper plus the quality of wood is better and all of that. So the kind of people who buy furniture from Pepperfry, there is a different bet. So when we were running those campaigns, we got this insight and we were like, oh, let's include this and see what is the additional revenue that we are getting. And we got a plus plus on that. I can't tell you the numbers, obviously, but I'm just telling you that these insights are baked in on top of the data as there. But the purpose of our session today is not to go into the depth of each platform because that's a practice or a practicing expertise that are there. What I'm trying to determine is the spread of the platforms and how do you use which platform when. Of course, if you have to do specialization, then you want to actually do a DV360 course, get the DV360 account, and all of that needs to be done. Yeah, so that's how you want to probably put it across. Cool. Okay, guys, what we'll do now is we'll quickly take a break for 10 minutes. It's 8:35. We'll come back at around 8:45. And then when we come back, we'll, I think, cover the rest of the elements that we have. All right. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Hey everyone, are we back?
Yep, we are.
Yes, I am.
Okay, we'll wait maybe a minute, I think, for everyone to come.
Nihal sir, just a fundamental question I wanted to ask,
Sure,
because
sure.
you said, like, everything is going to get completely automated by AI, all these Google and Meta ads also eventually
Already you're completely automated.
already, right? So, like, do you think, like in today's time, it's essential to learn digital marketing as a skill separately? Because eventually when we go, I mean, and if AI is going to take up everything and everything is going to be automated, and we just say that we give you the budget and you run the ads, digital marketing as a skill, like all this DV360 and meta ads and everything as an execution, is that something we should learn also? Like, because like coding is now come almost getting replaced.
Correct.
So I'm just trying to see like a future point of view from a skill set and a career point of view. Is that a good thing to learn, or should
Absolutely.
go the AI way?
Absolutely. No, no. So, see, AI is a tool, it solves a particular problem. A very good example you've taken of coding. AI is going to do coding, but will AI self envision what kind of applications are required? It is still a fundamental, like a business need, right? So, maybe the skill that you need to learn is what is a technology platform that you can envision that can solve a real world problem. And once you envision that and you break it down into like a workflow, screens, the kind of system architecture, then you can just prompt it to AI and AI will build a system for you. And then you can then take that system and essentially go out in the world and monetize it, make a business out of it. Right? The concept building or the strategy behind it will remain true. The same thing with digital marketing, right? That it is precisely the walled garden nature of these platforms. Like till Google is not going to talk to Meta. So a fundamental question that everybody is going to ask is, should if I have 100 rupees, how much should I put on Google? How much should I put on Meta? Google says, give me 100 rupees, I will give you 500 rupees. Meta says, you give me 100 rupees, I will give you 500 rupees. So should we do 50-50? Should we do 70-30? What do we do? And this is just a top level I'm just giving. It is actually connecting it to the outcomes. Like, for example, if you are in the beauty space, uh, do you think Instagram is probably a better ecosystem for creating awareness and system because of the nature of the reels, the kind of audiences that are out there? Would you think YouTube is a great platform? Would you think search is a great platform? That fundamental decisioning is still something that we have to take, right? Because it is our business. So the nature of the work that we do on digital marketing will change. The operational specialism, as to speak, like right now, for example, all this theory that I gave on programmatic, right? I think you don't need to know that anymore, because now that is under the hood, behind the doors. You still, however, need to know what is the ROI of a particular platform. Now we said that there were like 1000 programmatic platforms. Let's take commerce. Should we do Amazon programmatic platform? Should we do Flipkart programmatic platform? Should we do Google's programmatic platform? Should we do Meta's programmatic platform? Should we do some other? So all these decisions will still have to be taken. And once you take the decision, you implement it. Even if they have promised the sun and the moon, you have to actually evaluate if they're giving that data. And if they are not giving the data, what course correction you need to take, what are the other strategic decisions you need to take. So the decision making on digital marketing will go. Marketing as a whole, as a function, does not go, but the way you make those decisions and the sophistication with which you make those decisions will become a lot more different, Ruben, as per me.
More at a strategic level thinking, we need to know what needs to be done. The execution part we can then
Correct. Something like that, and also evolved understanding. Now, in the example of the fruit basket, we talked about definition of audiences, right? Data audience is different. So, for example, is your definition of an audience for a brand like, say, for example, if I were to sell a beauty brand, say a shampoo brand, say L'Oreal, what is your definition of the audience for L'Oreal? Is it anybody who is an affluent female, 25 plus? Is that is a very unsophisticated definition of that? What if we have to create a much more sophisticated definition of it, that people who are interested in daily hair care and are also interested in basically say for example the I think the fluffiness, if I call that the USP that L'Oreal puts or whatever, fluffiness of hair. Now, this is a very sophisticated definition of an audience. Tell me which platform has the definition of an audience which says target females who are more concerned about the fluffiness of the hair and not dandruff, for example. Then now you will construct specific data sources with or without AI to essentially build those unique audiences which can then be deployed across multiple platforms. So
correct.
The kind of work that will kind of shift with those kind of pieces. Okay. Okay, so we'll start now. Next, what I have for you is we're going to work through a couple of platform product definitions, and we'll discuss what different platforms are useful for. Just give me a second. So we're going to go into Criteo. Criteo is a programmatic platform which is specifically focused on commerce and retail media. Okay. And what is commerce and retail media, and what is the use case of a platform like Criteo? Let's just have a look at it. So I'm going to just go on to my screen. You should be seeing a YouTube video. Yeah. I'm going to play this video for you guys.
Meet Tom. Tom needs coffee after a late night of
You're able to hear the voice, right?
Yes, sir. Dancing. But this morning he discovered that his coffee machine is broken. Tom loads his computer to begin searching for a new coffee machine. He decides to start off with his favorite retailer, Retail.com. Oh, Retail.com is promoting a selection of gift ideas with Mix Magic for the festive season. Tom sees the retail media format and it looks enticing. Maybe he'll buy something else later. But for now, he's focused on his new coffee machine. Tom searches for a coffee machine on the retailer's site. Aha, now another retail media format is here, showcasing a brand's products. Best Coffee is engaging Tom, who wants to know more about this brand's product. The product page contains details so that he can compare this coffee machine to a selection of similar products. Coffee Max and Espresso are displaying some snazzy coffee machines via sponsored product ads, and this gives Tom something to think about. Hey, the Best Coffee machine looks great in pink. Tom's now running late for work, so he'll have to complete this purchase later. During his lunch break, he checks the news headlines to see what's going on in the world. While reading the news, a video pops into view on his mobile phone for the Best Coffee machine he added to his cart. Ah, Tom realizes that he forgot to actually buy his coffee machine earlier, and this video makes him want it even more. Tom clicks on the video and is redirected to his Retail.com app to finalize the purchase. A few days later, Tom returns to his favorite retailer, remembering that they had a great selection of Mix Magic gift ideas for the festive season. And look, it's a new and personalized homepage ad. Retail media is advertising that uses retailers' first-party data. It provides retailers and advertisers with a unique opportunity to offer personalized messaging to their shoppers.
Okay, so retail media is basically what Amazon does with its proprietary data, but now you think of it open for any D2C brand. So say, for example, if you have a website, which is a D2C website, say your say Nemans.com or any other website, you sign up for Criteo. Now Criteo will take all the data from your website, which is who has bought what shoes, or if you are say Prestige cookers.com and who has bought what Prestige appliances. And now you can target these audiences on the open web with those ads that you saw, right? When you went to the news website, he saw that thing, and then target them to do different actions. So for example, one use case would be to say, for example, make sure that anybody who is, say, for example, purchased your product, but sorry, added your product to cart but not purchased it, you target them so that they complete the purchase. Another use case would be to create recommended products. So for example, if say a person has viewed 3 different types of say apparels, and you're an apparel brand, and now you want to give that person a suggestion of 3 or 4 other apparels that will go great with the product that he's purchased already, he or she has purchased already. So actually, let me make it a more specific example. Say that you have a website which is specially tailored for men's clothing. Now person has purchased shirt already on your website. Now you want to target this person with suggestions for pants, belts, other accessories, and you want to target them. So a platform like Criteo can help you do that. Now let's look at what Criteo is all about. Okay, I'm just going to go through these. This is an investor presentation. So okay, now one more thing. When large network agencies partner with these guys, so they are always partnered. They give their internal product workings, etc. But all of that are signed under NDA, and which is why I can't reveal a lot of this information to you. But a lot of the components that they tell is also presented in the investor presentation. So I'm going to use this as a medium to explain to you what are the kind of product features that they are and the use cases that they are building. You can obviously go through all of this, but I'm just going to talk about that. Okay. So you can see the investor report of Criteo, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, retail media spend, which is basically within the entire digital marketing ecosystem, it's only spends that are going for targeting retail audiences or audiences who have done commerce shopping, or say, for example, audiences that are ads that are run on retail media websites, has grown to about 50 billion globally. Okay. It's a big number. And it is poised to grow to approximately 204 billion globally. Now, if you see the different types of spends that are going on since 2014, you can see that, for example, these outdoor magazines, newspapers, this is the offline media has gone very small. Green is TV or programmatic video. This is one of the ways which we'll talk about when we go to the next platform. And then they say retail media is going to surpass social media and search. Of course, this is them themselves projecting it, but I'm just telling you that that is what they're projecting, that retail media will become bigger than Meta or TikTok or even search. Now, how does Criteo as a demand side platform, or actually it's not a demand side platform, it's an entire programmatic ecosystem, fit into this entire piece? Now, if you see, Criteo has become a unified omni-commerce platform. It does what you call as the demand side concepts as well. It does the supply side concepts as well. So what does that mean? So if you are an e-commerce website and you want to, while you're selling products, you also want to have a second source of income by monetizing your audiences by selling ads. Now, what do you mean by that? Say if you have an e-commerce website which is generating 1 million visits per month, I'm just giving an example, or it could be 1 lakh visits a month, and you're getting about 10,000 people, and you sell everything from apparels and shoes and everything, and now you want to find how you can monetize and target these people. So you go to Criteo and say, I am an e-commerce website. Can I basically work with you for improving my commerce yield? So this is a product that they've done. They allow you to monetize your platform for enterprise retailers and marketplaces. And then say, for example, there is another way of doing it where we say we are using commerce grid, which will also be another commerce supply side platform. So this commerce grid is for your small business owners. So if you have a small D2C website, then Criteo will come with commerce grid. if you are a big website, like say for example, you are a Chroma or your Vijay Sales, then they will work with something called as a commerce yield kind of platform, which is for large scale advertisers. The second part of the platform is demand side, DSPs. So commerce mass and commerce growth. So commerce growth is basically for small retailers. So say for example, if you have a budget of 4-5 lakh rupees, you can go to Criteo and say, I don't want your full DSP. I want your commerce growth portion of your DSP, and I will utilize that to essentially generate e-commerce sales for myself. So they will come up with the multiple use cases. They will say, oh, one use case that you can use Criteo for is to target consumers who have added to cart but not converted. Oh, we can use Criteo for, say, for example, um, um, uh, giving personalized recommendations to people who have sold, so cross-sell, upsell piece. So they'll come up with a list of 4-5 pieces. Then they will say, in order to utilize this, you need to take this platform, implement the technology infrastructure required on, and basically create the data signals for the platform to operate the way it is operated, and then you can start using the platform by inputting money. So then Criteo will start allowing you to use those platforms in order to basically run your campaigns and therefore generate the business that you're looking for. So you're no longer telling Criteo that it's a programmatic platform, I want to run ads. You're telling them specific business outcomes that you want to go. Like you will say, my current add to cart ratio is 4%. Can you increase it from 4% to 6%? And can you tell me what needs to be done in order to do that? So Criteo will come back and help you solve for that. If you say, while I have a customer base of 1 million, by average product purchase per customer is only 2, I want to increase it to 4 to increase LTV of my consumer. Then Criteo will say exactly how it can enable that entire part of the platform by using its entire programmatic ecosystem. Now, if you apply the knowledge that we kind of put, what it is doing, it's a data management platform. Why? Because it is aggregating data from the entire ecosystem of retail partners that it is buying. So if I think they mentioned it somewhere, 1 second. Yeah, there you go. There are more than 13,000 e-commerce marketers and websites. There are more than 3,800 brands and agencies. There are more than 200 retailers that they are partnered with. Retailers, and these are the big scales, like Chroma type retailers. And they are more than partnership with more than 75% of the publishers. Now, what they're saying is on a daily basis, they can target 720 million commerce specific audiences across 100 markets on a daily basis. Can you see this? Now they are using personalized ad engine. So what does this mean? You don't need to worry about which product is the personalized ad. Like for example, if a person bought shirts, you need to also sell shoes and maybe other accessories for it. It is using an AI platform which it has built internally to ensure that when you set up the Criteo programmatic ecosystem, it will automatically target the consumers with the personalized ads, which is basically relevant products or cross-sell, upsell categories, what needs to be done. Here you can see it has data for more than $1 trillion of e-commerce sales. Because it is integrated with so many people, it actually targets more than $1 trillion of commerce transaction. It has data for those many transactions on a aggregate basis, and it processes more than 4.5 billion different product SKUs. So across all its partners, all its advertisers that it is working with, it has more than 4.5 billion SKUs. Now imagine you come up with a product website which sells different types of SKUs, like say for example, women's kurta, women's salwar kameez, men's shirt, men's pants, etc. Now it will compare that data against all the database of e-commerce transactions it have in the apparel space, in India, outside India. It will create modeling to identify who are the most relevant audiences to target, and it will basically ensure that they will target them on the open web. So the platform does everything at one go. And that is how they kind of establish that. Now, who are their clients? Of course, being whoever they have established brands, they have agencies, they have digital brands. So they have partnerships with Shopify, they have partnerships with performance agencies, they have partnership with some of the top publishers like New York Times. Of course, this is US centric, therefore there, but you can see here, they have partnership with Flipkart, for example, because of their larger partnership with Walmart. So any audiences that are targeted on Flipkart essentially can be targeted through Criteo as well. And what are they essentially doing? What are the use cases? So this is exactly what they're trying to do. So they have smart audience targeting because they have more than $6 trillion bidding opportunities daily. $6 trillion means they're able to target 6 trillion different impressions on a daily basis. They will do something called as predictive bidding. Now, what does that mean? The concept that I told you, when the prices go down, it will basically reduce the costs. When the prices go up, it will basically increase the cost so that you will get the outcomes that you desire. Dynamic creative optimization. So remember when we talked about the use cases on the first, where we talked about Shah Rukh Khan's personalized ads, as well as, say, for example, the second one where we did the Heineken personalized ads. Criteo as a platform can do it. So say, for example, you want to create a concept saying that I will create a campaign which says personalize your look for any consumer anywhere. Now it will create an entire concept which will say that I will target consumers basis their purchase behavior, and I will show them recommendations on specific kurta kameez pairs, and it will create a look for each and every, like, time of the day. So you can say lunchtime ke liye what should be the look, corporate ke liye what should be the look, weddings ke liye what should be the look, evening time what should be the look, day of Friday ko kya look hona chahiye, jab festive period hai, so when there are festive periods what should be the look. So you can actually build this with them and they will generate those creators for you based on the product SKUs that you have. And obviously intelligent product recommendations. So this is what I was saying. They will predict what shoppers will want next. So if a shopper has already purchased product A from you, it will tell you what products they are more likely to purchase. It will run the ads for those particular products and ensure that conversions happen. So you get additional revenue from those particular campaigns. So all of this is built in the platform already, because they have the combined intelligence of so many, that whatever that 3,000 13,000 different advertisers across the globe. That's what they have done.
So,
Yeah.
Professor Nehal, how is this platform building its credibility or authenticity? So in terms of, whatever the dynamic pricing or bidding that they're showing is really actually happening. I understand they would have gathered it over the years, but any new entrant, for example, and is there a place for a new entrant in such a scenario? Can one do that? And how are they building credibility within the ecosystem?
No, they are okay. So they have enough credibility. So okay, Criteo is a platform which is known among the circles, because outside the Google, Meta, Amazon behemoth that is out there, Criteo is considered to be the strongest commerce platform outside that. Now, for some advertisers, it will probably represent 20% of their overall revenue. For some advertisers, it will represent 50%. It is a case to case basis, and you have to actually sit with the Criteo team to kind of understand that. So when you do the ad sales demo with them, they will actually tell you in your category what is the benchmark, what is the opportunity that they can get, and they'll give you a projected plan that, oh, they can spend so much. Then they will give you access to their platform, and then you can start accessing and implementing that particular piece. So there is enough credibility already in the market, Anmol, for them. The kind of consumers who use them is essentially varying from market to market. So in India, for example, because we are slightly behind the curve, right? Remember, that's what I told you even last time. So the number of advertisers who are probably using Criteo in India are much lesser. Like, not every e-commerce brand in India use Criteo, but most of the mid-sized commerce brands who are basically clocking more than 1 crore a month in revenue, they are using Criteo, or they will be considering using a Criteo or an alternate platform for sure. Today, obviously, because Amazon and Flipkart has come into the mix,
Correct.
those guys are also commanding a lot of money. So Criteo has a lot of competition locally in India, but otherwise Criteo is considered to be a very strong platform globally when it comes to commerce.
Professor, so what are the competitors to Criteo in the Indian market? Because you said it's not as widely used. So what are the competitors or similar products are available or similar service providers?
Amazon and Flipkart. So why initially what happened, I'll tell you. Amazon came with its own ad platform in India, Amazon DSP, and we'll be going through this a bit. To counter that, Flipkart did a partnership with Criteo and said that they will launch their commerce retail media through Criteo. So then Criteo became the second most important platform outside, the fourth most important platform outside Google, Meta, Amazon. But then Flipkart did something because I think Walmart acquisition and all that happened, and they launched their inventory directly as well through a Flipkart DSP. So when Flipkart did that, these guys got pushed to the fifth platform. So they are pretty strong in the market, specifically for commerce. Just like they are there, there is another strong platform which is specifically for commerce. It's called RTV House.
Hi, sorry, quick questions, two of them. At the beginning of Criteo presentation, you mentioned that Criteo will basically lead the buyer to a specific CTA. Now, the CTA has to be the D2C website in question, or can it lead to other marketplaces as well, like Amazon or a Flipkart?
Anywhere, wherever you want.
Acha, okay. And there have been like multiple times that we have seen ads for coffee maker, for example, uh, which is which is basically leading to the Amazon web page, right? Now these are co-sponsored by both the brand and the marketplace in question, or is it only the marketplace that purchases those?
No. So Amazon itself purchases a large inventory.
Okay.
Amazon spends about
Outside
850
their
crore in
own
India.
ad platform as well,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
850 to 900 crores is what it spends in India, specifically on Google and Meta to drive people to Amazon to shop. But the ad that you're specifically, but they will do this only for their top advertisers, because Amazon is also going to be very picky, because the strategic deal that they do is that they will tell the advertisers that, say, for example, your P&G and say, or your say L'Oreal, and you're selling L'Oreal shampoo. So they'll go to L'Oreal and say, I will generate 3,000 crores worth of sales for you, and in the festive period in this quarter, and I will move 1 million units of inventory for you. Just give an example. This is the
Yeah.
deal. So it's a rev share deal. It is not an advertising supported deal. Then Amazon will go out in the ecosystem and say, in order to generate 3,000 crores of sales, I know if I don't do anything, I will generate 800 crores of sales or 1,200 crores of sales. For the remaining 2,000 additional crore of sales, I need to spend another 400, 500 crores of sales. So it will then basically spend that money as advertising specifically for L'Oreal. And then with that kind of monies, it will generate the revenue share, where when it sends 3,000 crores of sales, it may make 1,000 crores of sales. So Amazon goes a lot more deeper than just an advertising platform. It goes a business rev share model. It's a supply chain provider, everything. That's what it does. Now, over and above that, these small advertisers, which you talked about, they run ads specifically for taking it to Amazon because they want their products to sell on Amazon. Because for them, Amazon is not just a marketplace for listing their products for visibility. It's actually a solution that will also allow them with warehousing and distribution, right? They use Amazon Plus and all those pieces. So Amazon is a slightly, maybe not a like-to-like comparison to Criteo as a DSP, but Amazon DSP is a like-to-like comparison to Criteo, and we will immediately see the differences between both of them. But we'll come back to that in a minute.
So I just have one question which I believe that you partially answered. So for example, for Samsung, we used to do M series deals specifically on Amazon because that was only available on Amazon. And then there were other series, S series and N series that we used to sell on Amazon, which were partly available on retail, on Samsung Shop and everywhere else. So for M series specifically, they did a business rev share model, in which case I don't think Amazon DSP was ever used because they were controlling the inventory and where it would be showed and getting all the top funnel, mid funnel. But for the other, I believe the Samsung was using Amazon DSP to kind of analyze the search query, get them onto the top 10 searches and all that. So that all will come under the DSP. It is not something else that the publisher team was working with Amazon, correct? So they would only be looking at the DSP data.
No,
Or would they be looking at the other the search also?
Okay. So Amazon is a huge platform. Remember, we looked at the Domino's ad where, sorry, not Domino's, that Burger King ad where we did a delivery. Their primary technology platform was distribution on the roads, right? And we all agreed collectively it is strictly not MarTech. Now, coming back to Amazon. Amazon is strictly not a MarTech platform. Amazon is a marketplace, it's a commerce business. It's a huge behemoth that is out there. It has supply chain optimization technology. It has product analytics, commerce analytics technology. There are multiple technologies in that. Now, the example in question that you said on Samsung, One part of the value deal offer is also advertising, which is where they used Amazon DSP. But their data is not just advertising data. Their data is hardcore commerce data. Like what is a return orders? What is the cancellations? What is the the methodology of payment? How many people are doing EMIs versus how many people are doing non-EMIs? Strictly speaking, this is not advertising data. This is commerce analytics. So don't with Amazon, it is very easy to get confused with other advertising platforms because commerce is a huge commerce super platform, super app. So keep Amazon side mein. But yes, Amazon DSP as a platform for a smaller business is definitely an advertising platform where you can leverage the entire Amazon data to kind of do that. So if you were to put like to like comparison, now I'll just finish the Criteo. Say for example, Criteo allows you to do this. Criteo allows you to create all the automated purchase journeys that are out there. It's a platform for measuring the outcomes and the revenue that is out there, right? This is what Criteo does. So it basically creates a unique flywheel on demand supply. You can see the nomenclature here, more consumers, more brand, etc. Now, if you were to say, for example, start your campaign and you want to basically identify which is the platform that you would go after. Now, let's talk about Amazon DSP. Okay. Now, if you go on to this, it talks about objectives. Do you want to talk to Amazon from an objective perspective? Do you want to talk like look at the objectives that Amazon is giving? Do you want to improve sales and conversion? Do you want to reach more customers? Do you want to build brand awareness? Do you want to increase traffic? Do you want to improve customer loyalty? Which are the kind of products that you want to do? What are the audience insights? What are the data solutions that you want to do? What are the measurement solutions that you want to do? But we'll go down slowly. Now, why is Amazon DSP different? One, your ad can be shown on Amazon as an app. It can also be shown on Prime Video. Currently, only Amazon has the ability to show ads on Prime Video, Amazon Prime Video. So it's a premium supply. Remember artificial scarcity, we use that nomenclature. So Amazon, by creating a walled garden, has created a premium supply of inventory. Unique audience signals. Now, because of the huge amount of commerce data that Amazon has, it knows who is shopping for shampoo, who is shopping for mobile phones. It has all those audiences of shopper audiences. And on top of that, it is also creating AI-driven modeled audiences. So what does this mean? Because that person is purchasing baby products, that person is also likely to be a parent, and therefore that person is also likely to purchase product X. So it is giving you the ability to target all these audiences. Now I'm not showing you the audience list right now because the Amazon platform again is proprietary and everything. But now if I were to tell you, Criteo is targeting the open web, which is basically any retailer that is out there. So all the small retailers like Neiman's.com, all the D2C websites essentially, and the Walmarts and the other guys of the world, Flipkarts of the world. And the other side, you have Amazon, which is only Amazon data. And you want to choose one DSP, commerce DSP for your commerce website. Which would you choose? Would you choose the open democratic platform of Criteo, which partners with everybody? Or would you partner with Amazon? This is the difference in data and the decision making in what DSP you have to put. And I would like to have this conversation if you guys are open to talk about it. Any thoughts? You have say 100 rupees and you can only invest in one platform. Which platform would you prefer?
Criteo. And depending
I
on
mean,
the objective.
with a little bit of reasoning.
I think I would not only want to limit myself to the Amazon audience and want to go slightly more wider. And depending on the objective that I have and the product that I have, and I would like to explore more if there is a specific need and basis what I can achieve only on Amazon, I want to play safe basis the previous results and the transaction that I have, I could do that.
Actually, depends.
But Amazon also
Yeah.
Amazon
Yes,
also has its ability to basically show your ads anywhere on the website, on the internet, along with on Amazon owned properties like Prime Video and all of this. Yeah, sorry. Somebody was saying something. I interrupted you. I'm
depends
sorry.
actually if we have experimented before and we understand the ROI is better on Amazon, so we'll choose Amazon.
Correct. So this is what is the real world decision making. You can't actually take a decision just basis some arbitrary points. You have to experiment on it. But the point is that now you have a choice, right? You know Amazon is a platform that is exist. You know Criteo is a platform. You would want to try out both of these platforms because that is the kind of technology and the data that is available. And that's exactly the point. And Amazon, one thing is that because it's a practice piece, it gives you your education resources, it gives you a certification. So you can actually go through these certifications and essentially learn yourself very easily on what Amazon can do for you. Yeah. And here there's a couple of additional
I
pieces.
have a question on this. So you talk about decision making here. So suppose I am given the discretion now to choose which platform to use. Now, like you said, you need to experiment and understand between the two platforms. Now, I'm assuming that to get access to the platform, I'm going to have to pay an initial cost to subscribe to their services and so on. So now, do these platforms or these service providers give you like a look-in period of a 2-month, 3-month thing? Because to make an informed decision, you're going to have to try out with different platforms for a specific period of time to ensure that you're getting the return on investment. So how would be the best way that a person makes this decision if they are given the opportunity to choose between multiple platforms?
So see, that's exactly the real world problem point, right? So, okay, now I'll tell you how maybe we at Dentsu are making this decision. We are ongoing already working with Criteo for multiple of our or more, a lot of our clients. So we know where Criteo is delivering results, where it is not delivering results. Ergo, we know where Amazon is delivering results, Amazon not delivering results. So as a holding agency, plus we have access to other markets where we know their performance. So as a holding agency, there's an internal learning on where Criteo is good to deliver, where it is not good to deliver, where Amazon is good to deliver and not to deliver. And this is this is, if I may call, the the strat that we provide to our clients, saying that, oh, in our opinion, out of 7 clients, Criteo is strong. On 3 clients, Amazon is strong. Or alternatively, in the apparel sector, actually Amazon is very weak because they don't have a Myntra-like platform. It is Flipkart which has a much more richer source of data because of their association with Myntra. And Criteo has a very strong apparel base. So it is in apparel category, Criteo and Flipkart would be a better choice for you. So this intelligence is what large agency gives. Independent smaller agencies, typically that's the reason they are behind the curve, right? They don't have this knowledge and they do it through, if I may call it, trials and if I may, for a lack of better word, spray and pray kind of a methodology. So when you work with the smaller agencies or other boutique agencies who don't have experience, they may be specialist in Google and Meta, but when it comes to all these incremental platforms, you might have to work with maybe a little bit of a test budgets. Maybe you'll have to get like 3 4 rupees test budgets per platform. Again, this is not a starting point. You will not start with an Amazon DSP or a Criteo ever. You will always start with Google and Meta, then graduate into these platforms once Google and Meta hit a certain level of maturity. That's how typically everybody operates. And even this particular platform has its own maturity curve. So just because you have 2 lakh and you say that I want to run a trial for 1 month, it does not mean it will deliver results in 1 month. Sometimes they will ask you for running a 2 lakh or 3 lakh rupees trial, which will last for at least 6 months before they give you a particular commitment on what is the numbers that they can drive. So these are all meant for slightly more evolved clients, larger clients, and typically that's where the use cases comes through.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think you can see, right? So this guy used to be the CEO of Denso America. He's just moved into Criteo as a CEO. So we have some partnerships there, but just giving you a point. Yeah. There you go. 17,000 clients, $4.3 billion of annual spends, access to $1 trillion of commerce transactions, 720 million daily active users. That's what they're talking about. And I think they have some very good segment reporting, retail media, performance media, demand supply, and all of that. They have a couple of things. I'll share this with you guys. You guys can have a look at it. Yeah, so I think I've kind of gone through Amazon as well, but essentially, like to like Amazon, most DSP technologies are based on the same foundations. The unique thing is in the access of the proprietary. So Amazon's clear proprietary piece is their access to their Amazon commerce data, which is why Amazon and Flipkart have started becoming very big platforms outside Google and Meta. There was this example like RTX did a lot of, but over the time, I think it started becoming lesser and lesser. Yeah, this was the commerce grid. Now, remember I told you that Criteo is looking at both sides of the equation. So now, for example, Criteo Commerce Grid is the SSP built for small advertisers. So if you see, this is the entire ecosystem. Now, what it does is basically allows you to, in fact, what it says is that it essentially further partners with 60 other DSPs into one unified supply side platform. And it basically allows you to maximize your yield and performance with the partnership. There you go. So it's a small 4-5 slider PPT, but it says that it allows you to maximize your commerce piece if you're a retail advertiser or a supply hands out there. Okay. Now at this point of time, I'm going to do one more example to you. So Google AdSense. How many of you have heard of Google AdSense before? Okay. So Google AdSense is the SSP. It is the SSP for amateurs. If you have a blog which attracts 10,000 visitors, or if you have a large site that attracts 1 million visitors, Google AdSense is the most simplest SSP to exist in the market out there. Okay. The unique thing about Google SSP is that the revenue share that Google takes is a lot higher. So it takes, I think, about 35-40%. So that is the reason why for amateurs, it's a great starting point. But for other guys, it is a slightly more expensive, and therefore they go with professional ad tech platforms and SSP platforms like a Kriti or other one. Now, say for example, you want to get started. Now I've created these 2-3 websites, my own name, nealtech.com, neal@techcourse. Of course, this is not a real website, it's just a domain name that I've created. So just like you log in into Google or Gmail, you log in into it with your personal ID or whatever. Then you basically create your domain. Then after that, you can start looking at the ads. Now, what do you mean by ads? You basically can add 3 or 4 different types of ads. So if you see, I clicked it on the left. Actually, I'll do one thing. Let's add the website as well. So if you go on sites, new website, you can add any website. So let's say we'll add this super in. Sorry, once again. Yeah. You're able to see the Google AdSense screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, one second. Where did it go? Yeah, there you go. So I entered this website, superkicks.in. Now, how do you activate your monetization on superkicks.in? It's very simple. Google gives you a 2-line of code which you need to paste on your website. So either you can use it what you call as an AdSense code snippet. So you add this on the head on the your HTML. So if I were to go here, okay, I'm going a little technical, but I'm just showing you. Sorry. So this is what is the HTML coding of this superkicks.in website. I would want to place the code somewhere over here in this section that I put. I cannot highlight it right now because it's a static piece. Now, this is something that you'll typically ask your developer because it is not manually entered. It is entered through a content management system, which is another platform that is out there. So either you can do that or you can add it through ads.txt or meta tags. You can add it with through it. So for example, if you add this meta tag, if I go here and I showed you the source code, sorry. Okay, this website does not have any meta tags. Great. Okay, point that I'm trying to make is you have to add this code into the website. Once you add this code onto the website, you verify your ownership. The moment you add your ownership, then you will be able to monetize your website. That is what it comes over here. Now, while you are able to do that, it does not mean you will be able to run ads because now you have to select what kind of ads you want to run. So if you see in the ad unit, there are 4 types of ads that you can create as an SSP. There's a display ad, there's an in-feed ad, there is an in-article ad, and there is a multiplex ad. Now let's see each of these ads one by one. So let's talk about a very simple display ad. Now, what is a display ad? On your website, you will see the ad in this particular format. You can see this square ad. This is the ad that will appear on your website. Now, you can decide where you want to place this particular ad. So it can either be a square ad or a horizontal ad or a vertical ad, any of these particular ads. And when you put the ad name, say, I said, what was the site? Superkicks.in, right? Superkicks homepage square. You can give a name to this ad, and you can either make it responsive or fixed. Keep it responsive for now, and you create it. It gives you a code which you can place on whatever section of the website you want to paste the ad on. That's it. And the moment you do that, it appears over here, and now you can paste it on your website, and then automatically ads will start coming up on that particular ad block. If you want to create in-feed ads, then you can either let Google suggest a style. So I'm going to put supercakes.in. And I'll say desktop, scan the page. So you guys talked about AI and automation, right? This is AI and automation in action. You just have to click, 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 and Google automatically is going to suggest you how and where to place the ad.
But this has been since Blogger days. No.
Yeah, absolutely. But most of the other platforms are similar to that. Oh, it is not able to do that. Okay, let's create an ad manually. So when you create a style manually, you can either do it with the image on the side, image above, title above, text only. So you can do all of those. So let's take image on the side and let's do next. So there you go. So if this is your feed, which is basically content like native ad, somebody talked about Taboola, right? So if this is your feed, and I think best idea to put this maybe in India Times. Let's see if it detects that. It will appear over here, and then you can change the font. You can basically do the text wrapping, all those basic options, and then get the code layout. What we'll do is we'll quickly go back and we'll try to scan the page. Let's see if it comes. I put the India Times website. There you go. So you see on indiatimes.com, it has automatically detected the feed that is out there. And it is automatically asking you where you want to place your ad. So if I click on here and I want to place that is where the ad will come.
So this is from a publisher lens. How does this operate from a advertiser lens?
No, this is a publisher platform. It's an SSP.
Sorry, my bad.
This is specifically an SSP for monetizing your website. I'm just giving you a live demo because this is one of the easiest SSPs that are out there. That is what
Understood.
And yeah, there are like these brand safety and content. You have these ad review center. So you can block what kind of ads come onto your website. So you don't want any political news or political website. You can put all of that over here. And then finally,
everything you
Sorry?
Casino betting apps, ads, you can block all those things which you don't want.
Yes, yes, yes. You can do all of that. Yes. Yeah. And then there are general settings and everything. Yeah. So it's a very straight forward platform. There's no rocket science to it. And yeah, there's a reporting suite. So in the reporting suite, if this was active, you could understand how much money you're making every day. What are the top pages which are giving money to you? What are the sites that are sending you a lot of money? So if you have multiple websites, it will tell you that breakdown by content, breakdown by country, which country is giving you most money. So it is a very straightforward concept which tells you how you want monetize, and then you can optimize this to maximizing your yield. Now, the reason I walked you through all of this is because professional platforms like Creative, etc., there they have a team that essentially advises you on what are these platforms that are there and what are these parameters that are there and how you can optimize it to maximize your yield of your particular website if you want to do that. I'll go to Trade Desk in a minute. Now, when it comes to SSPs, I think Pubmatic is basically a platform which is considered to be a very, very dominant SSP. Now, this is again the annual report for Pubmatic. Now, here you can see that it allows you full controls on your monetization and control as SSP. It gives you, it has an integrated DMP within it as the platform. It tells you what kind of audiences are there. And if you see, I'll just scroll through a couple of this. Yeah, everyone is including Gen AI powered end-to-end platform. Yeah, all of this is okay. Yeah. So now, for example, because of the dominance of Criteo, Amazon, they have also started including commerce specific technology pieces in that. So for example, Instacart is a big global e-commerce brand. They have started taking data over there. Yeah, so this is what it is, right? As an SSP, they have audience data. So they have audiences with 190 different attributes. They have premium inventory. They have inventory from over 2000 premium publishers. And then they're using it to basically create better and better efficiency, data control, and monetization. So as an SSP, these are the features that you should look at when looking at an SSP. Yeah, this all is okay. Financial highlights, I don't think all of this is required. There's nothing that is here. Yeah. Yeah. So before I get into the final platform, yeah, Trade Desk is considered to be the biggest open internet DSP that is out there, right? And Trade Desk is essentially considered a monopoly for that, right? That is what they are. Yeah. So what Trade Desk is saying is that the open internet is a $1 trillion market and getting bigger. And why it is getting bigger? Because publishers, your SSPs, and there are all of these platforms in the middle, right? When we saw that video from 16 years ago, we didn't have something like an ad server or whatever, but all of that is particular over here. And then they've created a proprietary platform. Again, I'm skipping through this because I want to show you like the key pieces that are out there. Now, what Trade Desk is basically, now we saw Criteo as a commerce SSP. Now, what is Trade Desk? It's a general purpose SSP. And its largest value proposition is that it has a huge database of connected TV. It has a huge database. So it is connecting to every other platform, digital out of home. So for example, when you basically target consumers in say McDonald's and you see those ads coming in, yeah, in some societies you have seen that screen where that ads are coming in. Platform like Trade Desk has partnership and inventory across all those platforms. So typically a Criteo will not able to have that platform. A Criteo will not have a connected TV inventory. A Criteo may not have audio inventory. A Criteo may not have digital out of home inventory. So these are specific USPs that the Trade Desk is giving. So if your platform is a commerce platform which is trying to generate ads over here, then you would probably go after the Trade Desk. Yeah, all of this is okay. Yeah, so you can see how their bold statements, they buy the whole internet. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Now what they have done, now they have also acting as a data platform. So what they have done is they are buying data from all these different guys. So as a DSP, they have the data platform within the DSP itself, and they have data from all these different sources. Now, just to give you an example, they have commerce data from Walmart. These are names that you would know. Experian is your credit score data. You know, they say Experian credit score. So you can literally buy audiences on the trade desk by specifying people having credit score of 600 plus. Now for banking, this is goldmine data, right? So this is the kind of data sources that are available on these particular platform. Now Google Meta does not have Experian data on its platform. So if you're looking for some advanced data sets, these are the guys to go after. Now, Google Meta, for example, does not have OTT layers data, but someone like Lotame essentially has a lot of data around people and their OTT behavior, especially outside India. So, how many people are watching Hulu? How many people are watching Netflix? What kind of users are watching what kind of content on Netflix? Lotame has those kind of data points. So, these are data points that are not available on general Google and Meta solutions. And that is the reason why some platform like a TTD is considered to be an industry strong DSP platform that are there. Yeah. So what they're saying is at the base, they have built a data management platform. Remember the audience platform. So they are saying that it is not just a DSP, it's a DMP which has combined first party data, which is data, business data, with their own data, proprietary data, with third party data, which is the partner data over here that we saw. Sorry. And using that, they created a decisioning technology to help you target the best audiences. So if you're saying I want to target any consumer who's probably going to purchase a t-shirt, they will use all these data sources to arrive at what are the audiences that you need to target. So it's a predictive audiences kind of a model that is built. Yeah. And this is your basically how they are doing those predictive bid factors and everything. They are talking about they're so transparent that they detect so many data points, and they will report all these data points on your thing. So they will essentially tell you where your ad is served by ad environment, your app, your audiences, your browser, your category name, which device the person is using. All of those factors they are going to report on. Yeah. Yeah, this is the dynamic bid piece that I was talking about. They're calling it expressiveness. Yeah, and they are also comparing how they are better than agency trading desks and other people. Obviously, they'll do that. Yeah. The one thing that they've been tom-tomming a lot is a unified ID. So because they're targeting the open web, what they're saying is they have one view of the consumer. So say for example, if Trade Desk says that it has one ID linked to me, which knows all of my internet browsing behavior. So what I do on Times of India, then what I do on non-walled garden platforms, maybe I've gone on to a gaming platform, then I've gone to some other platform. It knows everything that I'm doing over there. That is what it calls as unified ID. So that's what it is. Yeah. And they are betting a lot on TV. So they are betting on connected TV and a couple of other things. Yeah. So they're saying about 90 million households is where they are reaching CTV. Yeah. And yeah, remember the decisioning. So they are saying they will generate more efficiency when buying TV. So you're saying that if you buy TV, you'll typically end up paying $10 of cost per milli. If you go for connected TV, you'll do $20. But with their DSP, they will give you better efficiencies when you're buying on these two particular platforms. Yeah. So I think this is then, yeah, look at this. Shopper marketing. Retail media is so strong that they have also started building that. So what they're trying to say is that they've started partnering with all retail media publishers like Instacart and Kroger's and other guys. They're also partnering with Walmart DSP, and they're essentially getting all this data. So that's what they're saying. So everybody is doing that. I think all of this is okay. These are all financials. So yeah, so what I was trying to get at is that there are these different pros and cons of each and every DSP. Sorry, I rushed through the TTD example. I'll send you that example over there. But as a spectrum of DSPs, there are different DSPs that are allowed. Sorry, I wanted to show you one last thing. Sorry, give me a second. I completely forgot about it. Yeah. So what I've built for you guys is what you call as a programmatic platform comparison. Again, this is not 100% accurate. I use a little bit of AI. I used a little bit of my personal intelligence to kind of put this across. So I've created a comparison sheet for demand side platforms where I've taken all the major demand side platforms like Google, Amazon, Trade Desk, Criteo. Microsoft's DSP is getting retired, but Adobe, all of these guys are there. Then I've also included some business data points over here. I've talked about some of the largest supply side platforms, Automatic, Google Sense, Criteo, etc., etc. And I've also talked about some of the prominent data management platforms. Now, I've just given tick marks, and wherever there's a unique selling point, I put stars over here, and I've tried to represent it in a slightly better way. But I don't want you to focus on the way I've rated this. All of this is a little bit of art, if I may call it, more experience. It's not a Bible, if I may say it. But what is important is when you're looking at any platform, you need to look at its features when it comes to, say, analytics and reporting. Does it give real-time reporting? Does it give integration with all these other platforms? Does it give omni-channel metrics? Does it give retail-centric measurement? When it comes to audience features, does it give advanced audience segmentation? Does it give audience builders? Does it give you audience profile analysis? Does it give you a shopper graph? When it comes to campaign management, how does it give you a campaign management, other core functionalities? So I've given you a framework of the different components you need to look at while evaluating which are the platforms that you're good. There is also business data source from their annual reports. And then use it like now, how is this important? Say, for example, I've talked about parent company revenue, right? So Google is $307 billion and it's a market leader in demand side platform. Amazon is $575 billion and it leverages Amazon's vast shopper data. This is basically Amazon DSP. So I am trying to basically talk about all the different platforms and why we think that these platforms have a huge business value. Ergo with supply side platform, and I've also given like weighted scores, relative weighted scores to all of them. So when it comes to supply side platform, for example, apart from the core functionality, what are the creative formats they gave? What are the identity privacy ecosystem? What is the integration, other integrations they give, etc., etc. Sorry, I'm just rushing through this. I will share all of this for you guys to look at. So what I'm trying to gain, and technically, while I put a few data management platforms, this is redundant because, like you saw, all the DMPs are now integrated within the DSPs themselves. Everybody is becoming unified, everybody is becoming one. So you don't actually need multiple platforms to make a informed decision. I'm going to share this all of this with you guys. So this will help you kind of understand the spectrum of platforms. These are again the top couple of platforms. There are obviously a lot more platforms when it comes to these technologies. And then depending on the use case, we can take a critical experimentation approach or an approach in terms of a strategic consultation, and then from there take an informed decision on which platform we need to implement over there. So yeah, I think that was my session for today. I'm sorry I rushed to the last 15-20 minutes. I wanted to take a lot more time to cover them, but I just realized we are over time. So I thought we'll talk about that. I know we are already 5 minutes about time, and maybe today's session was extremely heavy. So I apologize for that, but I hope I tried to do justice to this complex ecosystem. Trust me when I tell you, even the big agencies get it wrong. Like for example, in our report, you saw this platform called MIQ. So every DSP has their own pros, cons. Some of it is through trials and experimentation. Some of it is to collective industry body knowledge. So there are different ways and means to all of it. But I just thought I would introduce you to the very sophisticated way of digital programmatic ecosystem, which contains three primary platforms. It powers the entire internet and the ad ecosystem. So you can love it or hate it. Like as a consumer, when you hate those ads which chase you, एक बार एक website पे गया 15 times it chases you, you can blame these programmatic platforms. Sometimes when you go outside Google Meta and you see some very interesting ads which you think that, oh, this is a great product, that is also something that is done due to the relevancy of the personalized ad targeting that's out there. So yeah, like it or hate it, these technologies are there and they're only going to get more and more sophisticated. The industry trend is towards consolidation and unification. So you will see that these top 5, 6 platforms that I talked about are going to be extremely, I mean, they are going to be top of the pyramid, but there will be point solutions that will solve for any. So, say for example, if you have a niche, like say for example, you have a platform which deals in pharma products, there is 100% 2 or 3 DSPs and DMPs that are specializing in the pharma niche. If you have an education sector, now you can use a general purpose DSP like TTD, or you can go to a specific SSP, sorry, DSP, which is catering to the education sector. So it is a matter of exploration. Some of it may exist, some of it may not exist, but it is a huge world, huge opportunity, and the ecosystem has too many layers, and plus within that also there are too many additional technologies I have not even covered all. Like I've not covered brand safety technologies, I have not covered ad fraud technologies, because one of the pitfalls of this entire technology is ad fraud. Now, what do you mean by ad fraud? Bot traffic, invalid clicks. So there are technologies that protect people, that auto detect who is visiting your ad, who is visiting your website, how do you filter them. So all of these technologies are a part of the beautiful world which we call that is programmatic. So yeah, that's what it is. And yeah, I think maybe we'll just take the next 5 minutes to take any other further questions. Else we can maybe call it a night. And thank you so much for being with me through this entire session. I know it may have gone thoda bouncer, but trust me, you need like 2, 3 good sessions before you understand the depth of the technology itself. I try to simplify it as much as possible and make it more use case driven. So hopefully I've done justice to the stuff. Yeah, cool. Any questions, people, before we call it
Yes,
a
sir,
night?
absolutely. Thank you so much for this insightful session. I mean, at least I've been using all these ads, but now I think I've got so much clarity on what we've been using since so many years. A quick thing, there are some ads that we run on Paytm, Cred, Google Pay, etc. So all of these are DSPs, right? So when we use a platform like
No. So they are not DSPs because they are not self-serve platforms, Pallavi. They are SSPs which they have built internally. So Paytm has built an internal SSP that allows you to run that platform. Of course, Paytm specifically has a DSP because it has now started giving it externally, but a Cred, for example, only as an SSP. So all of these guys have started building their own ad tech platforms, which are some form of a DSP SSP. You're right. So like PhonePe, the moment PhonePe started ads, Google Pay, it started ads. It has a form of an SSP or DSP within its ecosystem.
Right, got it. Thank you.
Welcome. So Swiggy is running ads. You've seen the ads on Zepto. All of these are powered by a specific proprietary SSP that they've built internally.
Yeah, and for example, Zomato also, they're also redirecting it to the D2C platforms as well.
Yes.
So the
All of
entire
these guys, correct. So all of these guys have used some form of programmatic technology. So that's what I'm trying to say, right? Now, if Zomato opens up its inventory on programmatic and then says that it is only going to sell it through Criteo as a DSP, that is an exclusive partnership. So therefore, if anybody wants to buy an ad on Zomato, will now only buy it through Criteo. So like I said, it's a combination of supply chain dynamics, which is basically which brand ties up with which DSP, and second one is basically the ease of implementation through programmatic ecosystem, which is technology enabled.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Pallavi. Yeah. Anyone else? Any other thoughts, questions quickly? Others, I think it's 9:56.
Amazing session, Professor Nihal. I mean, I have not had much experience in this area. I understand the data side of it, but I think whatever you spoke of today, the way the last sheet, in fact, kind of answer what I was asking you earlier about how to compare and understand. So without having direct experience, appreciate you putting that together because it gives at least a starting point to make a decision, right? And afterwards,
Yeah.
it's going to be testing. Obviously, that's needed, but that's a fantastic tool. Really appreciate that.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Cliff. Yes. Anything else, guys?
I think we have a couple of questions in the chat. Probably
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't check the chat. Yeah, sorry. Once again, I'll just open it up. Oh,
So
okay.
we're asking for last session PPTs and
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
sheet.
So, yeah, I will share it. I'll make a Google Drive link because I think the file was too high, and I'll just share the Google Drive link with you guys. So in that, I'll keep uploading all the decks and everything that has been created.
Also, please do add the ABM case that you mentioned in the beginning. For a B2B scenario, these cases would be helpful.
Sure, sure. Okay, so let's quickly go through the chat. Okay, I see Shruti is also supporting me. Thank you, Shruti, for answering a lot of questions. Yes, we'll share it. Please share comparison sheet. Will share personalized notifications from Zomato and leaders to restaurants. And ads on demand. They are, yes, they are a sort of ad, but they are powered through what you call as MarTech platforms, which is the subject of a topic for next week. Navani. Yes. Okay. Anything else, guys? Or we can maybe bring up that poll, and then maybe we can all go back to our homes and have dinner and maybe
So you
sleep.
had said that
Sorry?
Meta has failed
Is there
in
a question?
creating. So you had said that Meta has failed in creating their own that platform of marketplace of selling and that like the Google AdX. So
Yes.
most of the Meta traffic must also be coming from Google AdX because that's the only apart
No,
from
Meta has conquered its own platform. So if you remember Google, there are platforms that Google own like YouTube, Google Search, Gmail, all of that. So Google is a master of that any which ways, but Google controls all the ads sold on the open internet. It is like Vasuli Bhai sitting there, keeping observation on what ad kiska kidhar ja raha hai. It has all the data in the world.
Yeah.
Now, Meta obviously controls the ads within Meta ecosystem. So within WhatsApp, Instagram, it has all that, but it does not have the data on the platform ads that are happening outside Meta. So it does not know what is happening on Google. It does not know what's happening on the open internet. It does not know any of those things.
But does Google know what is being happening on Meta universe? Like that's the thing.
No,
No. Okay.
no.
Okay.
That's right. No, so each of the walled gardens are self-enclosed. The data that they are mining is from the open internet. So Google pretty much owns the open internet because of its AdX auction, ad exchange that it owns. The other guys are just trying to basically figure out what's happening, but nobody has become successful yet.
Understood.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think with that, then I will call this session to an end. Thank you so much for paying attention right from the start up till now. I can see the poll has come through, but I just wanted to thank you guys, and we'll meet next week. And the agenda for next week will be looking at MarTech platforms and its relevance. So try to structure the session in a similar way. So I think that's what we'll do. Would love to please hear your ratings, guys. Please add it onto the poll. It's valuable feedback for me to understand if the subject matter needs to be improved, not improved, good, bad, ugly. So just request that you guys do that. All right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Good night. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.